What's up?
Metal echoes all around.
Yeah, it
Let's
is
go.
Friday night. It is Metalheads night.
It is the Metalheads Night podcast. We are here. We are back on another Friday night with
So,
the classic format. Hopefully, you guys have come to know and love.
it ends to be like a lyric in the like opening. You know, it's Friday night, Metalheads night.
I like it. I
uh,
do. I like it.
Had to add some shit to it.
Yeah. Oh, hell, we could write something up.
Oh,
We could write something. Yeah,
I've, I've already
have you
kind
have
of.
you have you composed
I
something?
mean,
Have you?
yeah, but a certain band said they already have something in mind and they haven't ever gotten to us. I mean, you know,
Man, their heads might be getting a little bit too big for us.
oh man, they're just.
No, I don't. They've been busy, is what it is.
I don't want to name any names, but they're scarring us with their halos over here. Jesus. But yeah, good stuff. So, just a heads up, everybody. We are in the Nashville area, so I don't know if you've been following the weather, but it's supposed to be getting a little rough later on. So hopefully
Crazy.
we get through this before that actually hits.
Yeah.
If not, we will we'll work something out. Like I said, if
Yeah.
we have to. I mean, if I have to piece this together and redo it, once we're done, then that's fine too. I mean, but
I still,
we'll get the episode out there for
I,
sure. So
s- I still kind of think we're going to be okay.
yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like
Yeah, I think we're going to be all right
yeah,
because
I hope so. So
I've been kind of
I
looking at the radar.
I
Like I
haven't
said,
watched it hour by hour. I just kind of
yeah. Well, I mean, this is what the radar looks like right now. Oh, there we go. The little blue dot, little
yeah,
blue
okay.
dot. Yeah,
Oh,
little blue dot is
it's
us.
it's a little ways away. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. I think
Yeah.
overnight is going to be the interesting part. Maybe like 1 to 3 a.m. somewhere around there. So
Oh,
maybe
okay.
make it
So,
interesting around there. So,
gotcha.
but hopefully we'll be asleep by then. We'll just sleep right through it. So
Right. Well, maybe I'm in a basement anyway, so I probably will.
right, yeah, yeah, that's true. You guys might. Yeah, you guys might. I wear earplugs when I sleep, so I may not even hear it either. So
Oh, so you won't hear it either way. So
I may not even hear it,
yeah.
but hopefully,
Wake up in your bed. You're in your bed in the yard or something.
right? Yeah,
What happened?
yeah.
uh,
Not in Kansas anymore.
right. Oh
Yeah.
man. So, just to let you guys know, this week's show is going to be a little bit opposite of last week's show because,
Yes, thankfully,
hey,
yes.
Kayla's in there. Hey,
There's Kate.
Kayla. Yeah, she listening at work or is she
Yeah,
on day?
she's at work. No, she's at
Okay.
work.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if she was on days or nights or what she was
No,
on
she's
anymore.
on she's on second shift, so she's at work right
I
now.
got
So
you. Okay. Well,
yeah.
well,
So
yeah. Thanks
so
for
hello, Kayla.
and just say thanks for all of her contributions to the show. Period, because she does contribute to
Yes, she does.
the playlist a lot and stuff. So
Yep.
yeah,
And she has actually already seen my list for this week.
Oh, okay.
She knew what the theme was, and I kind of showed her what I had because I actually I'm not trying to jump too far ahead. I'm not going to obviously tell you what songs I have, but I had a little bit of trouble getting started. But once I got started, I kind of went,
I did too because I
yeah,
kind of like the way I started it, and I kind of started thinking, I'm like, the way I started it could have went either side, I think.
right,
And I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna try to back off and think about this a different way. So I got like
yeah,
4 or 5 songs that way, and I said, well, if
right,
he's got them, that's fine. If not, oh well. So I mean, it works. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So either way, but
Well,
yeah, I was thinking about it, like, man, this could probably be fit in both sides of the theme, but whatever.
the funny thing is she said she already has a few in mind, but
I'm sure she
which is
does.
good. I bet she does. But the funny thing is like when I send it to you, I send it to her too. So I send it to you guys
Right,
both at the same time. But here's the thing: we did Order and Chaos about a month ago.
right,
And it was one that I suggested, so I actually took the order part, which is like the opposite of the way we normally do it.
right.
So like when you suggested Law and Order, I was like, well, fuck, that gives me the order part again, and everything I was like, well, about this and about this, and I was like, wait a minute, because it all started to sound. I was like,
Hmm.
do this? So I went back and I looked, and I already did one where I had the order part. So that held me up a little bit.
Right.
So I was like, all right, how am I going to start this?
Well,
And then,
We changed. I changed it to whatever you suggested. So I mean,
oh, did you?
yeah, I told you that was whatever you suggested was
Okay.
fine. Man. So,
Well, I
yeah.
actually kind of more or less did that for my part, but I ended up with
Yeah.
22 songs, so I'm okay.
Yeah.
So, long story short,
I
I
ain't.
may
I just don't want to tell them what it is yet. So.
no, no, no,
Uh,
no, no, no. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to jump too far ahead, but I had a little bit of a slow start. I got off and running at some point. Ended up with 22. I'm happy with
uh,
it, and I think it's actually going to be really really good once you and me and whatever Kayla's got that
I
she
got
adds to it. I think it's going to be
18.
so
So
that's 40 right off the hop.
yeah,
So
yeah. So
so
good stuff.
that's a good start. So I
Yeah.
mean it's already I like I say I already have it built, so it's already at an hour and 38 minutes. So
Okay.
we're off to a pretty solid start there. But as you were mentioning, talking about last week's show, we're not going to get into current events just yet because we got a couple other things to
Right.
talk about. But I will say, good news, we didn't have any passings this week, so
Right.
that is great news.
Well, hell, we had enough last week for a month.
I
It's like,
know. So
Jesus. Uh,
hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully we won't have to talk about five in a week the rest of the
right.
year. That
Yeah.
was that was oof, that
That
was a
was pretty
lot.
crazy. Yeah.
That was a lot.
This week has a different theme. Everybody's leaving bands, so
This is true. This is true.
so it's kind of a we. I mean, so the thing I was saying is we. I think we had a lot of content this week as far as between pulling actual stories and headlines. There was a lot of news. So last week we was kind of scraping for stuff. So it was kind of
That's the
a
thing is if
little
there
bit more
weren't
active this week. So
yeah it was strange because when we started the show last week we were talking about the fact that it was a slow week,
hmm
but at the same time we still had five people who passed away, so it was kind of strange if it wasn't for the breaking story from last Friday where Brent Hines left
right,
Mastodon. I mean, all I would have had would have been those passings.
yeah,
So it was a strange week to where we ended up having enough to talk about, but it was just because we lost so many people. So it was
right.
very, very strange how it
Not
all ended.
not the content we want to have, that's for
No, no,
sure.
no, no,
So.
never.
All right, I guess we'll get this thing rolling here this week with some birthday love.
Yeah.
From March 8th until the 14th,
Hmm.
and I wasn't really big, really like I don't know what I say, active on social media today as far as like looking at this kind of thing. So I may have missed some birthdays for today. So we'll see. So. Um, I'll kick off March 8th. I had Clive Burr, drummer for Iron Maiden from 1979 to 1982, and he unfortunately passed away in 2013. March 9th, we had Johnny Kelly, drummer for Typo Negative, Brandon Canty, drummer for Fugazi, and then Elias Soriano, vocalist for one of my favorite bands, Nonpoint.
Right.
Then we have March 10th, we had Matt Barlow, vocalist for Ashes of Airs and Iced Earth and Pyromaze. So, I mean, that guy's been pretty much all the big bands
Yep.
for power metal or whatever you want to call that. But some people say
He's got a
power metal,
great
some
voice
people say
too.
symphonic. So I guess it probably is a little bit of both there, symphonic and power metal. But
Yeah,
I,
he's dabbled in a little bit of both. Yeah.
yeah. So
Sure.
which he has the vocals to do. So I mean, good for him.
Great.
So.
He really does.
Yeah. So also on March 10th, we had John LeCompte, guitarist for Evanescence from 2002 to 2007, and we had Ben Burnley, guitarist, singer, and songwriter for Breaking Benjamin. March 11th, we had Vinnie Paul, of course, drummer for Pantera, Damaged Plan, and Hell Yeah. Unfortunately, we know he passed away in 2018. We had Rami Jaffee, keyboardist for the Foo Fighters, Rick Rubin, producer for Columbia and Def Jam Records. If you don't know who Rick Rubin is, then you probably haven't been following metal since the 80s. So,
Well, I mean, that's the thing is he hasn't just done metal. So I mean,
well, that's true. Yeah. So, I mean,
if you haven't heard of Rick Rubin, you probably don't listen to a lot of music
a
in
lot of music,
general.
period.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So you don't have to just be a metalhead to know who Rick Rubin is.
I mean, if you look at who at Columbia and Def Jam, that was probably the two biggest labels back in the 80s. I mean,
Yeah, probably.
so We had March 12th. We had Steve Harris, bassist for Iron Maiden. Minoru Nihara, vocalist for Loudness. Roy Khan, vocalist for Camelot from '97 to 2011, and then with Conception since 2018. We had Herman Lee, guitarist for Dragon Force. March 13th, we had David Draymond, vocalist and songwriter for Disturbed, of course, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about them in the news section.
Yes, we will.
uh, Ed Sloan, vocalist for Crossfade. Spanky G, real name Michael Guthier, drummer for Bloodhound Gang from '95 to '99. And then the only one I had for today, March 14th, was Psycho Mike. If you know, or you may know him as Mike Moore. Mom didn't give, or Mike, Mom, can I get a Pepsi More? However you want to.
All he wanted was a Pepsi.
We'll probably burn it. We'll probably like just keep drilling that into the ground.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that was a meme before memes were even really a
Exactly.
thing,
Yeah. Before we even
and
knew
like
what memes were,
and like almost 40 years later, it's still
still
it
funny.
still hasn't gotten old.
Yeah. Yeah. But he is the vocalist for Suicidal Tendencies, in case you didn't know. And then I don't know if do you have any more band shout outs I missed or
No, not as far as I
okay.
know. Pretty
And
much
then I do want to
everything.
give a personal shout out to a good friend of mine, and he's also a big went to a bunch of shows with me and Chris,
Oh
and
yeah,
hung out with us and stuff. But Constantine Rossetti,
hell yeah,
happy birthday, my brother. Hope you are hope you had a great day, and
hell yeah, man.
you look like you did. I seen him relaxing in the cigar shop with a
Oh man, that dude
stogie
is
and
hell yeah.
a drink. So I'm sure he was relaxing today.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm sure he was holding it down. I don't have any doubt about that. But yeah, happy birthday, Constantine.
and I guess that will take us into this segment. I guess we would kick off the show and tell before we get too far ahead of ourselves.
Yep.
I know we kind of do that a lot with the show and tell. We kind of get caught up in what we're doing and forget to do the show and tell. So until the end
Right.
of the show. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll lead off the show and tell this week. Last week on the show, I had a couple of guitar picks from the Disturbed, Scum of the Earth, and Blood Simple show that I went to back in 2006. And I did mention one other souvenir that I had. Well, two other souvenirs that I had from that show. One of them I found. The other one is still MIA. I know I still have it. I just don't know where. Some things have kind of gotten put away and moved and all this other stuff. But anyway, this, of course, this is the cover to it. But I mean, the CD
oh
is
yeah,
right
the
here.
blood simple. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is the Blood Simple A Cruel World CD that I got at the show. And after the show, during the meet and greet section,
Nice.
I actually got, and I thought it was, I actually, of course, you say this is damn near 20 years ago. At this point,
Right, right.
I thought it was the singer. It was not. It was actually Chris Hamilton, the drummer, who I got to hang
Okay.
out with for a little bit. And Angela and I got to talk to him, and he actually signed the autograph to both of us, to Chris and Angela,
Oh,
Chris
nice.
Hamilton. So that was cool of him. So
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
he
Man.
was a good dude. So still have this like 20 years later. Unfortunately, all these years later, Blood Simple is not around anymore,
Right.
which is a shame. So
Man, maybe somebody could talk them into a reunion tour and spark something, man. That'd be cool.
I don't know, man. You would think. I mean, it seems to be a kind of
I'm
like
going a trend right now, you
it
know.
really does. It really does. So maybe I mean I don't know. Maybe Danny Wimmer can throw enough money at
Yeah,
him.
yeah, maybe that'd be cool. Hey, Danny, throw
Yeah.
some money at him, brother.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
I mean, how you look at the Ghost Inside was gone for like 7, 8 years, and then they was at a festival and they felt like it
Well,
was time to get back. Which they had tragedy strike the band, and it took them a while to get over it. I get that, but
yeah,
7, 8 years is a long time to just be idle. I mean,
yeah.
in the music business, especially nowadays, you hear. We've heard from the Reality Machine and Rick Rick Jimenez from Extinction AD talking about how you set stable, man. And so
Yeah.
well, we even talked to Rick from Every Mother's Nightmare, and that was one of the things that he had mentioned. I said, hey man, what do you contribute to the longevity of the band? You guys are still around since like 80, the late 80s. And here you are still making music. And he's just like, dude, it's just consistency. We're
Mm-hmm.
we're consistently turning music out. So I mean,
Yep.
you know, and that's what we say is like a lot of times I mean, even now I'll hear something and go, oh shit, I forgot about that band, you know, because they hadn't done
Right.
something in so long, and
Yeah.
you know, and plus we listen to a lot of shit, so it's kind of
We
like
really
it's
do.
easy, you know, like I said, for people like us that are doing this for you know not really a living but doing this for
Hmm.
content,
Yeah.
it's kind of you know, a lot of bands get lost in the shuffle. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's kind of you know, and then a lot of bands come out with something, and I'm like, damn, didn't they just have something? You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's one or the other. It's never it's you know, and I
Yeah.
think you know I'll talk about this in the headlines, but you know I think that's the thing is a lot of bands are realizing now that you have to put you know something out every couple of years or so. So you know,
Yeah. You
if
do.
you think and even if you think about it, man, it's like you know, Testament's coming out with a new album, right? I mean, it's been
Yep.
5 years, so I mean,
Right.
because of the pandemic mainly,
Yeah.
but you know, because they didn't get to tour for Titans of Creation
Yeah.
until you know a year and a half later, so
Yeah.
it's kind of or 2 years later. I don't even remember what it was. Pretty close, I guess, but.
I think it actually was slightly more than 2 years by
Was
the
it
time,
really? I knew it was a long
we
time
got
because
the same.
people were already like, "Hey man, what about new music?" He said, "Hell, we
Yeah.
never got to tour on this album. Like, why would we write
Right.
new music?" It's like,
Yeah.
uh,
By
so
the
yeah,
time we saw him in Chattanooga,
it
I
had been
think
a
it had
minute.
been a
Yeah,
couple of years. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, dude, to just think that that made that much of an impact on everything. But
It
you know,
really did.
it is
But
what
I,
it is.
but I mean, talking about other bands that are getting back together, Spine Shank. I mean,
Right, of all people, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So,
I mean, I heard that. I was like,
we had,
holy shit!
we
I
had,
hadn't heard that name in forever.
I
So I mean,
know. Then we had Chimera,
yeah,
you know,
God
regrouped,
forbid.
and
I mean,
now, yeah, now they're making new music, and
and
you know,
hell, look what Kitty did last year.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they were your album of the year, and they were my
right,
song of the year. For Christ's sake,
yeah.
I mean, they came back with a vengeance, and good for
Yeah,
them.
sure did. And I'm expecting the same thing from Shadows Fall, you know, this year too.
Oh
So
man,
yeah,
oh man.
so
I've
yeah,
I have been I've been wanting them to come out
Mm.
with some more music, even if they never like got back together to tour, which I don't think that's too far behind after the album comes out.
Oh no,
But
no.
you know, so
I mean, they've been on two
I
festivals that I went to. So I mean, it's
yeah,
yeah.
so I think a full fledged tour maybe 26. That would be
Oh
nice.
no, I think it'll happen later this year.
Maybe.
Because I mean, they're pretty
Yeah,
much
maybe.
done with the album from what I understand. So I mean, you know, I figure we'll get a summer release and maybe a fall tour. So
Oh, see that'd
yeah,
be even better.
yeah.
Even
All right,
better.
before we get too far, I guess I can get my. You were done, right? That's the only two.
Yeah, I was done. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want to interrupt. So,
Nope, you're good. You're
all
done.
right, let's go all the way back. I wonder how far back this goes. I can't remember. Ooh, 1993. Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was the year that I moved down here.
yeah. Well, it's a. So I will say it's a little bit beat up, but I still do have it. It's the Metallica Live Shit box set.
Oh my
So,
god.
yeah, so
You know what's funny is now did
yeah,
you have the
it's got the
okay,
VHSs and the book still
oh so
intact. It's
okay, now
the
you have
cassettes.
yep, you have the exact one that I have. Now the funny thing is I still have all of the contents, but the box completely fell apart like years and years ago.
Yeah, this one's in rough shape, man, but it's
Yeah.
still there. So
Yeah.
it's but yeah, that's like I don't even know. I think I've only looked at this booklet probably like once or something. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
got the it's got the tour pictures and stuff in it. And, I think there's a poster or something. Oh no, it's stencils. That's right, it had stencils in it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I forgot about
Oh, yeah.
that.
Yeah, there actually was a lot of cool stuff in there.
Yeah, it shows like pictures from certain tour dates on here.
Hmm.
It's got the
I wore those cassettes almost out. I still have them, but man, I almost wore those out. And that's the funny thing is I really don't like listening to a lot of live albums because I would rather just listen to live music, in
right.
person. But so I don't usually listen to a whole lot of live music. But when I got that box set, I did. I listened to those cassettes a lot.
Yeah, I listened to the cassettes and watched the video tapes
Hmm.
a pretty good bit. So yeah, so yeah, so that was my contribution for today. I was like, well, I ran across
That
that and I said, oh, that's a good one.
that is a good one though,
Yeah, I hadn't had that
because
one.
like I say, you're talking 32 years at this point.
Yeah, that's surprised the box is still in that good a shape being that old. So, I mean,
True.
just the lid's the only thing that's really, kind of banged up on it. So, I mean, it has been through. Let's see, how long ago has that been? It's been through about 4 or 5 moves in that time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good deal. So, I guess that will lead us into our news of the week.
All right. Yep. Well, and our current events this week, like I say, we the good news is we don't have any passings to report on, so that's always good news. But our first story this week going to be over at the PRP.com. Zulu have announced that they have split with their vocalist Anaya Rashid Muhammad in the wake of allegations of domestic violence, harassment, emotional abuse, and more being leveled against him by a woman identifying herself as his former romantic partner.
Mm.
Those allegations were shared online last week and were further backed up by former Zulu drummer Don Brown, who took to social media to voice his support for the woman. He further went on to claim he was no longer a member of the band after apparently discovering the alleged abuse. Zulu initially planned to soldier on without Muhammad and fulfill their planned Latin American tour. However, that trek was ultimately scrapped with the band citing, quote, growing concerns from promoters, bands, and audiences, end quote, regarding the tour's viability. Muhammad, for his part, issued this statement on March 9th, denying the allegations put forth against him, and there's a hyperlink to his statement in the story. In a statement issued on March 12th, the remaining members of the Californian hardcore band announced that they had officially parted ways with Muhammad and would be putting the band on pause. Here's what they said on the matter. Quote, we are aware of the allegations brought forth against Anaya. We stand in solidarity with all people who are victims of abuse and condemn the mistreatment of those vulnerable in our communities. Our hearts go out to anyone who has experienced any form of physical or emotional abuse, assault, or any other act that has caused harm and taken their agency away from them. Other members of Zulu have separated Other members of Zulu have separated ourselves from Anaya and will no longer be working or performing with him in any capacity. We want to acknowledge the allegations were never disclosed to us prior, and we were immediately concerned reading the detailed account. We were aware there were unresolved issues between the parties involved, but not the nature of the allegations. In regards to our previous drummer's posts, while he was filling in on tour with us, he did not disclose knowledge of these allegations other than what we understood to be issues surrounding the relationship. He ultimately did not play with us because of confusion over scheduling. We understand that this has been an extremely upsetting and disappointing to anyone who supported this band, its message, and what is represented. Upon our return home, we have withdrawn from scheduled performances and we will be officially putting this project on pause. End quote. So it's unfortunate that the band feels like they have to do this. I'm sure it's because they're like, well, who the hell do we get to fill in? Considering that was the lead singer of the band. So I mean,
Right.
you got a tour coming up, and all of this comes to light. It really puts now. Obviously, the victim of the allegations is the most important person in this, but just so I'm not trying to downplay what the victim is going through, but
Mhm.
just focusing on the band aspect of it just for a minute.
Right.
A band is a collective of people, of course, and they've all they're all trying to make a living out of this and trying to make money, trying to get their music recorded and put out, and then they got a tour to get the music out there, and all of a sudden something happens with one member and it puts everybody in a lurch.
Mhm.
So it can be tough because who knows how long the rest of the band feels like they'll have to be on this hiatus to one find someone to replace the vocalist, and then to feel right about going back out, because there's going to be a little bit of a stigma attached to this band unfairly for a while,
Right.
especially people who follow this band, and then the fan base, they're going to have like this weird taste in their mouth about it. So obviously for the other person involved, the defendant, I guess it would be, once it finally goes to court, if it ever does, the defendant in this case, I mean, she's obviously the one who's affected by it the most, and totally
Mhm.
understandable.
Right.
Physical, verbal, emotional abuse, and all that stuff. That's horrible. But one person can turn multiple people's lives upside down for whatever the justification may or may not be. So
Right.
it's a tough spot for everybody involved.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's kind of what we've seen with As I Lay Dying. Everybody kind of bailed before you know everything came out. So I mean, they
Yeah.
kind of, a lot of the band members knew it was coming, so they just bailed
Yeah.
before then. Which the only thing that sucked about that was they were currently on tour. So I mean, that's kind of crappy, but it is what it is. I mean,
Yep.
it's that was I mean that was their decision that they thought that's what made them feel safe and you know
Yeah.
and as far as a working environment, then more power to them. I mean, as a fan, I mean, I'm sure I would have been pissed off on the other side of that coin, but you
Yeah.
gotta take into consideration what was happening. So
Yeah.
you
But I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, you have to. It's kind of the same thing, like when when a band member, like Des Fafara, like a couple years ago, when he pulled Devil Driver off the road because his wife was sick,
right,
and a lot of people were upset. Be like, this man has a wife at home who's going through a
cancer, yeah,
potential cancer battle. How the hell can you be mad at him
right.
for going home and taking care of his wife? But you always have these people who are just like, but I had tickets.
Well, good
I
for
mean,
you. I mean,
build a bridge and get over yourself. So I mean, the messed up thing is that there's going to be people who are upset at this band for going on this hiatus because of what happened. There will be. There will be, and it's wrong.
yeah. So here's the thing, like. I could say this too because I had tickets to see Alice in Chains with Lane Staley twice,
Yeah.
and he was in a rehab stint both times, so I didn't get to
Hmm.
fucking see him. So I mean, I could have raised hell, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I mean, what's the purpose of the matter is why would you be mad over something like that? And I mean, maybe I'm like 17 at this time, and I still realize that would have been
Hmm.
kind of shitty to be like, oh, the fuck this guy. What's he need to go to rehab for?
Yeah.
Rock stars drink, get out here and party and sing me songs. I mean,
Yep.
but that's not. I mean, that's not. The guy was trying to take care of himself. So I mean, unfortunately, it
Yep.
didn't work out in his favor. We all know. So, but it's kind of unfortunate that it didn't, and I never got to see him. But I did get
Right.
to see Alice in Chains with the new guy with Korn a few years back. So, I got to mark it off my list, even though Lane wasn't with them. But
Uh huh.
and we talked about the Pantera thing with me.
Yep.
That was my
Yeah.
fault. I was in a car accident, and couldn't go, but. I missed
Well,
that
I mean,
opportunity. But I still missed that
I mean,
opportunity, and I'm more mad at myself over it than I am the band. But
well, I mean, nobody plans to have a car
well,
accident
no,
either.
that's what I'm saying. Shit happens, man, and you got to. I mean, I've come to I've seen Phil and Samo and the Illegals do a whole set with Pantera songs, and I've seen Pantera live now. Recently, so I
Yeah.
got to see the songs live, and I can't. It wasn't Vinny and Dime, no, but it's still the content was still the same. I mean, it's
Right.
not 100%, but for the most part, it was still the same. So
Right. Well,
you know,
see, but see, that's the thing, and we've talked about this before. I mean, we've we've seen Iron Maiden,
hmm
we've seen we've seen Metallica. Metallica is not the original lineup. I mean,
well,
Iron
true,
Maiden,
yeah,
Bruce Dickinson's not the original singer of
right,
Iron Maiden.
exactly.
So I mean, what
Different, what
band?
different? Yeah,
Right. So I mean, at this point, what band is the original band?
yeah. Maybe
And
Aerosmith. I don't
uh,
know.
and hell, they're not touring anymore.
Right, exactly. So,
So I mean, it's just
so you're
that's the
probably not.
thing is, I mean,
I
people want
don't
to
know
get
who was that band. There was a band that I did a fucking thing on, and they were like 10 or 12 years in, and they were all original. I was like, wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah. It
pretty
was
wild.
one of your last album reviews you did,
Yeah, that was
but
pretty
yeah. So I
wild.
mean, it's the exception and not the rule anymore,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
Well,
it's
I mean,
whether it's
you can even take big bands like Korn, where Brian, Head
yep,
Welch was in, and he's out and
left
he's
and
back
came
in. So I
back.
mean,
Yes, I mean,
Jesse with Kill Switch did the same thing. So
yeah. So I mean, it's just sometimes bands can circle back around and they can come back together.
yep.
Sometimes they can't. But I mean, and then there's a headline that I'm sure we'll talk about that touches on this subject.
hmm
And and when I saw it, I was because I when the topic was first brought up, I was like, that's probably not a good idea. And then I saw the headline, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I would be against it at this point. So I mean,
Yeah.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about it when we get there. But
All right. Let me get into my first one here. My first story is over from Metal Hammer. Have you ever wanted to drink whiskey out of a sawed-off shotgun? Well, your extremely niche and frankly disturbing dream has come true. Machine Head have debuted their new alcoholic drink, Shotgun Blast Whiskey, which comes in a shotgun shaped bottle and with shot glasses that look like bullet cases. Sounds like my kind of drink there. Uh, the California Groove Metal Kingpins unveiled the beverage on March 11th. Its name and packaging inspired by lyrics of the band's 1994 song Davidian. The drink is available to order now in North America with European delivery expected to start soon. Promoted as an ultra premium blend of 11-year aged and 4-year aged bourbon, Shotgun Blast Whiskey is 47% ABV. If you don't know what that is, alcohol by volume, and made using processes handpicked by Machine Head's founding singer and guitarist Rob Flynn. Flynn comments, quote, "We are beyond stoked to be doing this. As most of you know, Machine Head has always been a drinking band from our first shows playing kegger parties to sending out a hearty cheers to 70,000 of our friends while headlining French festival Hellfest last year. Both Machine Head and the Head Cases like a drink or three, so last year when the opportunity presented itself to deliver a premium bourbon whiskey, it was a bit of a no-brainer," end quote. Machine Head haven't just been busy making whiskey either. The band will release their 11th studio album, Unatoned, on April 25th. These Scars Won't Define Us and Unbound are currently two of the singles streaming right now. So can check those out. Can't wait for that album too, by the way.
Oh man.
It's gonna be this,
Oh
like I said, this year's gonna be killer, dude. It's
yeah, it is.
especially after that one that we were talking about earlier today. Jesus Christ.
Uh huh.
Probably my highest rating of the year for an album. I'm just going to go on and
Yeah.
say that. So, but
It
anyway,
was fantastic.
it was, yeah. And plus, you get the extra disc two of the live version of
Uh
stuff.
huh. Yeah, that was a nice
Yeah,
surprise.
I did not know that was going to be part of it. I was like,
Me
oh,
neither.
wow. You know, since the fuckers don't ever come near us, maybe the only reason the only way I get to hear them live. So,
Right. Yep.
assholes. I was looking at the damn tour, and I'm just like, God, man, it could have at least been somewhere close. I mean,
Right, like Alabama, something.
hmm
All right.
I need to look and see if they're going to be in the area where I'm going to in our next weekend. So maybe I
Oh,
can
now see,
get there.
that would be lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that would be lucky.
That would
Um,
have to be. I would have to go because I think that would be a missed opportunity if I didn't. So
I think so. Yeah. All right. Moving over to Blabbermouth. Actually, for the rest of my stories, I just as it turns
oh
out,
wow,
Rob Zombie has released a new spelling book entitled Z is for Zombie: Learning to Spell with House of a Thousand Corpses Friends. Published by Neckbolt Publishing, the new 76-page hardcover book features artwork by Pete Bregman. The official product description of the book reads, quote, "It's always more fun to learn with friends, especially when they're House of a Thousand Corpses friends. Rob Zombie represents Z as for Zombie: Learning to Spell with House of a Thousand Corpses friends, where aspiring spellers can learn the important words and phrases properly with support from positive role models like Captain Spaulding, Barbie Firefly, Otis Driftwood, professors, doctors, and Rob Zombie himself. Learning is just so damn good," end quote. Z is for Zombie: Learning to Spell with House of a Thousand Corpses. You want to put up your little finger and start counting this? The House of a Thousand Corpses Friends is now available for $39.99 from Amazon. Released in 2003, House of a Thousand Corpses was Zombie's debut as a feature film director. Even though House of a Thousand Corpses was not a box office smash, the relatively low budget flick's $12.5 million haul on a reported $7 million budget was enough to make Lionsgate Films happy. So, and then The Devil's Rejects was in 2005, and
did there
hell,
were three or something?
yeah, yeah, I can't remember when that one came out, but there
Yeah.
you go. So you can probably learn to. I mean, Captain Spaulding will probably teach you how to spell the word fuck. I mean, he's good about that. So
True.
positive role models. That's not exactly the words I would have used, but maybe fun role models, sure, but positive role models, I don't know
Yeah,
about all
three.
that. But
Yeah, Three from Hell was in 2019. So,
that, yeah, okay, there we
and I
go.
think, I
Yeah,
want to say that Spalding died shortly after its release, so or somewhere near there, because when we went to Sonic Temple in 2019, they had a big mural painted of him at the show. So,
yeah, we went to we went to a tattoo and horror convention. It may have been in 18 or 19, somewhere around there. It was at the airport Marriott up there
Yeah,
off
yeah,
of
yeah.
Bradley Parkway, and Sid Haig was actually there.
Nice.
When we were there, he wasn't at his table when we first showed up, but at some point he did come back and sit down, and he looked exhausted.
No, I'm sure he did.
He
Yeah.
did. He looked exhausted, but we got
I
to
mean,
see him.
a lot of people didn't realize how old he was. I mean,
Yeah.
he was already kind of, you know,
Well, he was sick too, but yeah,
right. Yeah, but I'm just talking about even when he
yeah.
started with Zombie, he was in his late 60s
Oh
probably.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So he was, he
Yeah.
was already up there.
Yeah, so we did get to see him, but yeah, it
That's
wasn't too
cool
long
though. I
after
mean,
that where
because like I said, you got that memory, and
hmm
he's gone now, so you always have that
yeah.
to look back on.
And
So,
Angela actually got to give Gunnar Hansen a hug at the same convention, so
oh, there you go.
that
Yeah,
was
okay,
cool.
nice. All right, this one over at Metal Hammer as well. Metallica, since we're on Metallica today, so that was not actually
Wasn't planned,
wasn't
yeah.
intentional. That's just the first thing I found. So, Metallica have teamed up with Apple to launch a new VR immersive concert experience. Metallica, an Apple immersive concert experience, will be available for free. Well, maybe I need to do that here too. For free on Apple Vision Pro from Friday, March 14th. So today,
hmm
but the equipment itself retails from around 2,500 or 2,000 pounds. The film features performances of the songs Whiplash, One, and Enter Sandman, filmed on the band's M72 show in Mexico City last year. It was filmed using ultra high resolution 180-degree video and spatial audio, which Apple says will give fans unprecedented access from vantage points as close up as the snake pit to wide angle views. Apple built a custom rig featuring 14 Apple immersive video cameras, stabilized cameras, cable suspended cameras, and remote controlled dolly systems that moved around the stage. Announcing the film with Apple at SXSW Festival, Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich was asked what it was like to see the high-tech footage for himself. He says, quote, pretty overwhelming, sort of surreal. You still get, to this day, self-conscious, really that's what I look like when I drum. He's saying really that's what I look like when I drum with the tongue and all that silly face stuff.
Yep.
When we
Yes.
were having the conversation about doing it and understanding the technology of the possibilities, understanding the cameras and all of that, we were trained on the Vision Pros and looking at these sporting events and so on. It's fucking insanity. Then seeing a Metallica concert like that, and on top of it in Mexico City, which is about as high on the fan engagement, fan passion, and sharing of that love, the Mexican crowds are so giving and so completely unguarded. It's such a beautiful thing. End quote. A preview of a preview of they left out something. A preview that will be available as part of the Apple Vision Pro demo in Apple Store locations worldwide starting today. So if you're in an Apple Vision or Apple Store, you can go check that out. So.
Be kind of neat to see, but I'm not paying 2,000
Oh
bucks
hell
for it.
no! Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not doing all that.
Yeah,
So
no.
it's and then you can be like hear James say yeah. Ooh.
Many times. All right, my next one here on Saturday, March 15th, which will be tomorrow, Cannibal Corpse drummer Paul Mazurkowitz will return to the Commodore in Ybor City, Florida for another attempt at stand-up comedy. The event's official description is as follows, quote, death metal meets alternative comedy in this one-of-a-kind show. Paul Mazurkowitz, drummer and founding member of Cannibal Corpse, shares stories from his incredible career that inspire comedy from Tampa's best improv comedians, end quote. Paul says, quote, this Saturday night, Ybor City and Tampa at the Commodore. It's round 3. Come out for a fun night as I tell stories that inspire improv skits from the troupe, end quote. The Commodore is a 22,250 square foot space, which opened in 2023. The owners of the Commodore include local performers Matt Walker, Kevin Mikowski, John LaSavith, Justin Peters, and Kelly Buttermore, who joined forces to build the, quote, ideal space for independent comedy in Tampa, end quote. The Commodore features shows several nights a week from top local, regional, and national performers with a programming focused on the sort of adventurous alternative work that you might see on a nightly basis in New York, Chicago, or LA, according to the theater's page. So there you go.
Yep.
Anybody in Tampa want to have a have a laugh with Paul Mazurkowitz, head on down.
It's pretty wild how a lot of these people are going from one one thing of entertainment to another. Like a lot of the wrestlers are doing
Yeah,
comedy shows, and then you got musicians doing shows,
yeah,
and comedians doing metal. Jack Black,
hmm yeah.
can't
It's
go back
true.
and forth between stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
The
pretty
funny
cool.
thing is like the last time that Mick Foley came to Zany's, I really regret not going to that.
Oh, we went to that. It was good, dude.
Yeah, I regret not
So,
going.
so it was good because you heard stories that you had never heard. Like you've heard them, but you never heard them in like the detail that he was giving them. Like there was a lot of like
Sure.
the stories that we had heard. I'm just like, okay, because he started out and I'm like, hey, I've heard this, and then he started giving out, and then he kind of said that he said, now you think you've heard this, but when you've heard these stories retold, they leave out a lot of detail.
Oh,
So
I'm sure they have
he was
to.
giving out some pretty, like I never knew the whole thing out the cage was Terry Funk's idea. It was like, you know, and it was so funny how he was like mocking Terry, and he sounded just like him when he was doing it. He's just like, it was so funny. He was just like, he was like Terry. I don't, he said, I come to him and said, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I got, I can't top what Shawn and Undertaker did in his cage. He said, I don't know what to do. He's like, oh man, you know what you need? You go on the top, man, and do some shit there. I was just like, what the hell?
That's funny.
But yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
I do regret not going to that.
And the good thing about his show is he only says the word fuck one time, and just the whole thing, you're just sitting there waiting on him to be like, and he teases it a few times, and you're like, oh, and he's like, almost got me. So he's just so it's pretty good. I like him as far as an entertainer. Like I
Yeah.
said, some of his other views are kind of out there, but
Oh, I mean,
as is a lot of people. So
yes,
whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like the thing is like I think about. I thought about me and somebody was talking about this the other day, and it was another friend of mine, and we were messaging back and forth about some stuff, and because somebody got heated on a political post or something that both of us were friends with. And he's like, man, that dude's just going the hell off, ain't he? I was like, man, that dude's nuts, man. I just like ignore him most of the time, and he was just like, how many times have we hung out? And I was just like, I don't know, hundreds probably. Why? And he's like, have we ever talked about politics? I said, probably not. He's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, why do you go out of your way to do it on social media when you've never talked to me in public about it? Like,
No, yeah.
and I thought, I'm like, man, you know what? That's kind of a good point. Like, why, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of that's one of the things where I'm just like, well, that's because you can hide behind a keyboard and say what the fuck you want to, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yep. Keyboard tough guy.
that's right, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we need to stick to, like I said, when we're together. I mean, when everybody knows what we talk about, so
Yeah.
probably the show or other metal shit we don't get to cover on the show. So,
Right. Yep.
and we do talk about wrestling and stuff sometimes, but
Yeah.
and we have gotten into political discussions every once in a while, but it wasn't nothing like, you know. And it's
Needed.
almost like, and I like talking to your wife about it, really, because she puts stuff into a different perspective a lot of times. I'm like, I never thought about it that way,
Yeah.
So,
She follows Angela follows that stuff more than I do.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
she does. She does.
yeah.
I'm just so jaded and cynical about the whole thing. It's just
Exactly. Well, you're probably like me. It's kind of like I'm the stone cold of all that. Just DTA. I don't trust any of them. So,
well, exactly. That's exactly what it is. No
so
matter. I mean, no matter what side of the aisle or or the
the
issue
thing,
at hand, I just don't really trust any of
the
them.
thing is that I'm gonna laugh if, like, just because, like I said, we don't know how anything's gonna play out because it's too early to tell. But and I'm gonna cut it off right here after I say this. But so I'm gonna say this I'm gonna laugh when, or if, I guess I should say if like they find all this money and they say, oh well, let's give it back to the people. Well, I don't want any of them fucking people that's been bitching this whole time. They shouldn't get a goddamn thing. So that's the way I
No,
look at it. And I was just like, no, motherfucker,
that's
you were
true.
bitching, you didn't want it, so you just shut the fuck up. You don't get none.
That's true.
But that's why I just say, man, y'all just be calm and let it play out, dude. It's like we've lived through recessions. I mean, it's part of politics. I mean, and honestly, it may be a good thing right now. Hopefully, it probably drives some prices down and makes shit affordable again. So, but we'll
Maybe.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
we'll
see.
see.
All right, this one. Damn, I didn't know I had so much for Metal Hammer this week. All right, I guess you're going to be at Blabbermouth. I'm going to be at Metal Hammer all night.
Yep. Yep.
This one, another one over at Blabbermouth, over at Metal Hammer. Which I mean, I think they all kind of had this one. A lawyer is looking for Tool fans to join a class action lawsuit after the prog metal giant seemingly reneged on a commitment to perform two unique sets at a 2-night live event in the Dominican Republic. Tickets for the Tool in the Sand event were sold as a package, which included tickets to two performances at the Hard Rock Hotel in Punta Cana at the weekend of March 7th through the 9th, as well as support slots from Primus, Mastodon, and Coheed and Cambria. Fans were also told they would be treated to unique set lists from Tool on each night. But after they played the songs Fear, Inoculum, Rosetta Stone, Numa, and Zombie on both nights, some fans who had shelled out thousands of dollars to attend felt that was too much repetition over a 10-song show on the first night and a 9-song set on the second night. Jesus Christ, that's it?
Mm.
Wow, that's just crazy. One of those fans is an Augusta, Georgia-based lawyer called Stas Ruzek, who believes fans are entitled to compensation. His claim, he says, is based on the two set lists being too similar when compared to what was promised, and that the second performance was cut short. Facing audible displeasure from the crowd, Tool apparently left the stage on the second night without playing Vicarus, which fans spotted was written on the band's paper set list. Now, Mr. Rusek's firm, Stasio French Rusek LLC, is calling for disgruntled fans to get in touch. Mr. Rusek tells Metal Hammer, quote, "The potential lawsuit against the promoters of Tool in the Sand is indeed being investigated. We have had lots of interest from Tool fans who attended the festival, a category which I personally fall into. These were my 27th and 28th Tool shows. There was a palpable sense of betrayal in the air as the show began the second night, and it lingered throughout the remainder of the weekend. What it boils down to is that purchasers of the festival package were promised two unique sets by Tool. While the comments on these posts argue about what unique means, the reality is that the opportunity to see Tool play two unique sets, which means no repeats, was the determining factor for most attendees to pull the trigger on spending thousands of dollars to attend. Most Tool fans like me have attended multiple shows on the same tour, and we know that due to the spectacular and complex nature of the show, most songs will be repeated. However, this is not what the festival's attendees were promised." End quote. Mr. Rusek is promising fans they'll pay no fee unless they win the suit, and describes himself as a huge Tool fan, but also a festival attendee who feels your pain and seeks justice for all of those ripped off by a classic bait and switch. A class action lawsuit is a civil lawsuit where a group of people with similar claims sue together. Man, things ain't looking good in the Tool camp, I don't guess. Which, I mean, Metallica's been doing this for years, and they are unique sets. You can go back and look, and they don't play the same
Yep.
two songs on any given night. So,
And they advertise it as such. They call them the
They
no
do.
repeat weekends.
No
So
repeat,
they advertise it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. And I mean, you got that much in your arsenal, you shouldn't have to repeat the songs. I mean,
Yeah.
plus 9 or 10 songs is ridiculous, man.
For a headliner, yeah.
Yeah, Metallica does like 16, 17 or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just unreal to me. Of course, we've never seen the all the fuss over that band anyway, but
Not really.
not saying they're a horrible band. They're just we just don't see the immense popularity that everybody else does, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean it's just our two guys' opinion.
yeah,
That's really it. All right, my next one. Still at Blabbermouth. What happened? Something just fell off my. What is this? Oh, that's the cord for the printer. I don't need that now. That's fine. Okay. All right. I was just making sure it was nothing I needed right now. And it's not.
right.
Okay. All right. Pantera and Hell Yeah drummer Vinnie Paul Abbott continues to be one of the most beloved personalities in the history of metal, and now his legacy can fill both our hearts and bellies with the perfect companion for your summer barbecue. Drumming Up an Appetite with Vinnie Paul, which is available from Z2. The book commemorates the memory of Vinnie's legendary Sunday Fun Day dinners with his Epicurean collection of his favorite family recipes, opening with a foreword by comedian and friend Carrot Top. I did not have that on my bingo card.
Right.
The book is broken into 3 chapters: main courses, reinventing the meal; side dishes, far beyond kitchen; and of course desserts, a vulgar display of flour I
Oh
love that.
wow, that's pretty cool.
I love that. The book, as well as the cover art by Eric Rodriguez, was a lifelong dream of Vinnie Paul's, who said in 2016, quote, "My cookbook will be called Drumming Up an Appetite with Vinnie Paul. How clever is that? It's got a picture of me sitting behind the drum set holding two big old turkey legs. Those are otherwise known as drumsticks, and it's got a lot of really cool recipes that I came up with on my own. A lot of them my mom taught me when I was growing up, and just a lot of tongue in cheek humor. It's just a lot of fun. It's not real serious. A lot of people think cooking is throwing something in the microwave. It's really not. There's a passion to it. It's like playing music. If you love doing it, you really put everything you've got into it and want it to be special, and that's what we do." End quote. The recipes are captured through the photography of Justin Barucki, with illustrations by Danny Hellman, Steve Chanks, and Bob Schwager. The book is rounded out by an afterword from Vinny's best friend and personal assistant, Brian Brydog Jones, who added, quote, "Vinny's barbecue action was most definitely not your average lineup. Whether it be at his Texas or Vegas casas or on the road prepping and cooking for all the bands and crew and even the local venue personnel, his spread was legendary. Lots of very hard work from myself and many others made this book possible. Vinny's recipes are now being offered to the world," end quote. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the drummer's seat. Vinnie Paul, beloved drummer, best known for his tasty rhythms in Pantera, Damageplan, and Hell Yeah, had another passion that fueled his days: incredible eats and delicious treats. He began writing this book over 15 years ago. This book contains his favorite recipes written by. Okay, that's just a recap paragraph. Sorry.
Mm.
Drumming Up an Appetite with Vinnie Paul will be available in hardcover via Z2 for a list price of $29.99 at retailers everywhere on
Hmm.
March 11th. So it is available now.
Yeah, it's not
There
bad.
is a
Not bad.
yeah, there is a
Not bad
deluxe
for.
edition available. There's a deluxe edition available exclusively for pre-order at the Z2 online store, featuring one hardcover mass market edition, one butcher paper protective dust jacket, one Vinnie Paul cooking hostile apron, one Vinnie Paul Hell Yeah 25-piece napkin set, one Hell Yeah University Vinnie Paul cooking diploma available for $79.99. There will also be a limited amounts of the Vinnie Paul cooking hostile aprons available for $34.99. So, no,
Hmm.
not just the cookbook. So,
Right.
some other Vinnie Paul cooking swag that you can get. So,
That's pretty cool.
this is neat.
Yeah, to make something come to fruition even after his death that he wanted to do
Yeah,
is pretty cool. So,
yeah,
all right, my next one is for Metal Injection. Crypta has split with guitarist Jessica DeFalci, who has been in the band since 2022. Crypta and Falci both notes that the split was amicable, and they plan on playing all their future shows and working on a third record throughout 2025. Quote, Crypta announces the departure of Jessica DeFalci from the band. Wrote Crypta, this step was taken by mutual agreement, with the decision coming from her and being respected and accepted by the band. We were immensely grateful to Jessica for her time, for all our time, journey, experiences, and adventures together over the last few years, and we will always cherish and appreciate all of her contributions to the band. End quote. Jessica DeFalci added, quote, "I would like to thank Crypto for trusting in my work and for inviting me to be a part of this story. I am also very grateful to the fans for their support and kindness. I will carry this experience with me forever. See you on the road," end quote. Crypto announces the departure from the band. This step was taken by mutual agreement. This is just this is like the actual Instagram post I'm reading, so it kind of repeats some of it.
yeah.
Um, it said, and it says, "We wish you luck and the best for your future and career, Jesse. Thank you. We would like to remind you all of our future shows and tours are already scheduled and yet to be announced, as well as the writing and release of Crypto's third album will continue unaffected and will occur as planned." So, obviously, I don't know if she's just on board until the album's done still, or if they've already got a replacement. I don't. It didn't really say. So, it didn't seem like that she was just bouncing all of a sudden. It seemed like
Yeah,
she kind of had wanted to complete her
her obligation or
yeah,
something like
right, her
that.
obligations to the band. So we'll see. I guess so.
Maybe, but again, at least it was amicable. So
Right, right,
if
right.
stuff has to happen, at least it's on good terms. So
Yeah, yeah. Which is it's cool that nothing's getting interfered with. Everything's still as
hmm
planned. They said so.
yeah,
Any fans out there of crypto will be happy to hear that. I guess so.
yep. All right, my last one. Before he ever became a guitar virtuoso and toured the world with the likes of Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Rob Halford, and currently Motley Crue, John Five was just a kid growing up near Detroit Rock City, obsessed with Kiss. That fascination turned into a lifelong journey of collecting anything and everything from the Star Child, the Demon, the Spaceman, and the Catman. In May 2025, John Five will open up his personal collection for the first time ever to fellow Kiss fans around the world with his brand new Knights in Satan Service Museum of Kiss Memorabilia in Los Angeles, California. Guided tours will be open to the public for 1 month only with a possible expansion. Current dates available are May 5th through the 9th, May 12th through the 16th, May 19th through the 23rd, and May 27th through the 30th. Each will be led by John Five himself, who will provide tons of rich detail and answer any questions. Tickets are now available at john5store.com. John Five says, quote, in June 1977, when I was 7 years old, my mom took me to Sears. God, you remember where you just have to buy tickets at
I know,
Sears?
right?
Where I saw a record store display for Kiss's album Love Gun. I loved monsters and music and begged my mom for the record. Hearing it for the first time was a total epiphany for me. And anytime a birthday or Christmas rolled around, I got a new Kiss poster or merch. Collecting became a huge part of my life. It also helped me connect with the world as I found pieces from Argentina to Chile to Taiwan to Japan, end quote. The idea for Knights in Satan's Service Museum began when he started archiving everything on Instagram, but knew it was time to expand. Quote, with Kiss not touring anymore, the only real place to see this collection and go down memory lane is to come to the museum in LA, John Five says. Hang out with me, I'll answer questions, we'll talk, and I'll tell stories. John Five's collection spans 2,500 plus pieces encompassing unique merch and one-of-a-kind collectibles from the Gilded era of Kiss, 1973 to 1983, including one of the only known pairs of Gene Simmons's Destroyer boots from 1976 and his first outfit from 1974, as well as banners from the band's appearance at Woodfield Mall outside Chicago in 1974 for the National Kiss-Off Kissing Contest. If it was me and someone had this, I would love it, said John Five. A preview of the Knights in Satan Service Museum collection is available below. John Five recently wrapped up a massive 2024 tour with several legs of solo dates and international appearances with Motley Crue. Look for more to come in 2025. So, for all you Kiss fans out there, I mean, he's got shit going way back. I mean, you're talking pushing 50 years ago at this point, some of this
Yeah.
original stuff being around. So, not even really being a huge Kiss fan myself, like if I was out there, if I was out that way, that might be something even I would have to consider taking a look at, especially since you would get to meet the guy himself. You would. It's not like John Five is opening this museum and he's just like, here's all my stuff,
Right.
display it for a little while, and then when we're done, I'll just come get it. No, he's going to be there himself,
Right.
taking you around and showing you all this stuff. So it's kind
That's
of
cool
like,
too. Yeah.
yeah, so you kind of get like a 2-for-1 there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Maybe that's what I'll do to my house once I move. Just turn it into a damn museum. People just come out and look at all my shit that I've collected over the last 30 fucking years. So,
maybe.
well, I mean, you'll have a wrestling corner and a Marvel and DC
Uh-huh.
corner and a, and a metal room. So, I mean,
Yep.
yeah,
And hell, Susie's got a lot of stuff she's collected too.
oh
So.
yeah, I'm sitting there looking at like Harry Potter and Beetlejuice shit in here too. So I mean, it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like we got our different stuff that we do. So I mean,
Oh yeah.
it's this house is full of shit, man. It's like I'm always building a shelf or something.
That's true.
Yeah. I'm like right now. I was sitting there the other day. I'm like, man, I need 2 shelves in here. And it's like she goes, yeah, you're supposed to get me the. I'm like, yeah, I know. So I just bought her 3 more floating shelves to put some stuff on, and she's already filled those up. So
Yeah.
it's wild, dude. It's kind of like crazy. And then of course I still just telling you before the show, I ran across a bunch of wrestling memorabilia from one of my wrestling days. So
Right.
I could probably do a whole room in that. So I mean, as far as because I have the NWA North American title that I held. So I mean, I have
Which is still cool as hell.
yeah. I mean, it's like it was one of the things where I said, hey, if I do not jump on this, I'll never have this opportunity again. And like,
Yeah.
luckily, the guy knew me well and knew that it meant a lot to me, and he held it for me. And people offered him more money for it, and he said, nah. I just got a feeling that this is where it needs to be. It's going to be appreciated. So,
Mm-hmm.
that was his main thing. I didn't want. He's like, hey, yeah. He goes, man, I didn't want to give it to some mark to go and show up in a bar with it on his belt or some shit. It's like trying to show off some shit that he never done. But yeah,
You know what you need to start doing is if you have your old championship belt, you need to just start wearing it around the house over your shoulder.
I ran over the shoulder, just
Start
cutting promos on everybody.
Yeah, start walking in every room, going the champ is here, and then just have just just have bullet with a name on it,
Yeah.
just ready to go, and just
Which is kind of crazy that you brought that up. I noticed that MJF kind of used that in a promo thing on AEW. So he used
oh,
that
did
song.
he
Yeah, he
really?
used the song there. Yeah, I was like, hey motherfucker, I ought to sue your ass.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
well, I mean,
Yeah, it's not my song, so I can't sue. But
that's
I was
true.
just kidding. But it is cool that after what 20 years, somebody's still using that as like you know something to do with wrestling. It's kind of just
Yeah.
amazing to me. So. All right. You didn't have that. You weren't going to talk about the Disturbed story?
Well, I mean, I figured we would talk about it. I figured we would talk about it together.
Oh yeah, go ahead and because I knew you shared it. So I mean, I never put it in.
Give me just a second here, because like I say, I figured we just talk about it. All right, here we go. Going back over to the PRP. This one was just posted this
Mhm.
afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Disturbed's penchant for pyro at their live shows on stage during featured on stage during back in 2023. The Flames featured on stage during trip to two separate venues sprinklers. That's just worded strange. Trip to separate venue sprinkler systems. While there's no water damage to be reported from the multi-platinum new metal hard rock band's March 8th hometown show at the United Center in Chicago, there does appear to have been some fire damage this time around. The Chicago Tribune report that the fabric of six banners hanging from the rafters commemorating the Chicago Bulls' 1990s championship runs all suffered significant damage during a recent concert, with
Oh
sources
god.
telling the aforementioned publication the damage occurred during Disturbed's recent set. A statement issued by the representatives for the United Center said, quote, United Center is currently working with the Bulls to explore options to repair these banners. While the banners will not be in place for the remainder of this season, we do anticipate them being back in place next season, end quote. If past Disturbed shows are any indication, the damage likely took place during the band's characteristically pyro-heavy performance of Inside the Fire, which
Mhm.
closed out the concert. You can watch fan film footage of that set closer from the show in question below. Disturbed's 25th anniversary touring for their six times multi-platinum debut album, The Sickness, will continue as follows. The dates are below.
Mhm.
We've talked about it on the show during Hitting the Road, but
Which Inside
I
the
couldn't
Fire is
help
my
it.
favorite Disturbed song, by the way. So.
I couldn't help but laugh when I saw that. And considering that I'm not a Chicago fan in any way,
Oh
shape, or
right.
form, that just kind of chef's kiss, kind of, So,
I think we were.
and another thing is,
I think we were all kind of a secret Bulls fan just because of Jordan, but
well, I wasn't because I've been a Pistons fan, and they were kind of rivals back then. But
right,
the
exactly.
funny thing is I was talking to one of my coworkers about it, and I was like, it's not. I was like, the funny thing is it's not like they did anything on purpose. I said because they're from Chicago. There's
Mhm.
no way they would intentionally set the championship banners on fire
Right, exactly. Yeah,
in some sort of like rivalry prank or anything like that. That's their hometown
yeah.
arena, city, team, all that shit. So I mean, it just kind
But
of
my thing,
obviously it was an accident, but I thought it was
well,
funny as
my
hell.
thing is, why don't they have those on some kind of retractable chains or something where they could pull those up during shows like that? I don't understand why they would
Well, the funny thing is
just leave them out like that.
I think they're. I mean, if they're anything like the banners that are hanging up in Detroit, they're already all the way up in the rafters. They're all the way up
Okay,
there.
damn,
But
that's some high pyros.
it,
Then
it must have just gotten that hot. So
they need to work on their uh, height a little bit. I guess bring that down a little
yeah,
bit.
I just thought it was funny.
Man, that is kind of wild, though. Just to think about their, you know, I actually thought they were going to try to like say something to them about having Disturbed replace it or something. But I mean, I don't know. I figured, you know, you kind of knew that you kind of know the pirate. obviously it's in the story. You kind of know the pyro from the band, especially on that song. Then
Yeah.
it seemed like you would have done something and you know to kind of prevent something like that from happening. But yeah,
Yeah, you would. Yeah, I mean, I
either
don't
take
know.
them down. I mean, just for the show. I mean, if that's what you got to do. I mean,
Well, I mean, I guess it's one of those lesson learned kind of things. Now at some point they'll kind of be a little more cognizant of that for future
well,
shows, and
you know,
I'm sure other venues will be like, yeah, let's make sure that doesn't happen someday.
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is too, once they redo them, they could probably get them in some kind of fire retardant material where it probably won't bother them anymore.
True, that's
Because they
true.
probably didn't have any of that in the '90s. So,
Mm, that's true. Probably not.
all right. Other headlines: the a ludicrous six-neck guitar played by Spinal Tap has gone to auction, and I don't know if you've seen that picture. That thing was just
I
wicked looking too. I'm just
didn't
like,
know, but
holy
I'll have to look
shit!
it up.
Yeah, you have to look that up. That's pretty wild. Um, Opeth covered Iron Maiden, and Michael Ackerfeld really does not like it. So it's well, I mean, to me, Iron Maiden's a hard band to cover, and
Yeah.
if you're Opeth, not a traditional heavy metal band, by the way,
Uh-uh.
it probably is hard to cover. So
Well, the funny thing is, I'm surprised I didn't mention this last week on the show, but probably because it wasn't out at the time. But I don't know if you saw it, but Kitty and some other people, I can't
I
remember.
did
I,
see
I can't
that,
remember, and you know how I feel about
and
I know how you know how I feel
and
about the Unforgiven.
I didn't like it. So I'm just going to
So
tell you, I didn't like it
no,
either. So
I I have I've gone on record on this show many times saying I like a good cover song. I really like
mm,
it. I do enjoy a good cover, but I have very, very high standards for when people do covers of that song. The way I feel about it, ugh, I didn't, and that's a shame because, like I say, with how well Kitty did last year with their comeback album,
right.
that was a song maybe they shouldn't have done. I didn't like the way it turned out. So
Yeah, we might do that one night just to do something different, shake it up, and do like a segment on here where we just go over our favorite, like play our favorite covers on here,
I would be all
and
for
talk
that.
about
That'd
them
be
while
cool
we're
too.
doing that or something. Yeah, we might do that.
That's a great
We'll get
idea.
we'll list together and do a special show or something where
Oh,
we're
that's a
just
great idea.
that way we kind of get out of the norm and do something different for a change. Yeah, I might do that, man.
I'm
Sounds like
in.
a good idea, man. All right, Mastodon's Bill Kellier explains Brent Hines' exit. Says, like a marriage, sometimes people grow apart and they get interested in other things. Yes, that's a good way to put it, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind of sounds a little diplomatic.
well, yeah, yeah. Knocked Loose, the Dillinger Escape Plan, Lamb of God, and a lot more has been announced for the first ever Unhinged festival. And as soon as they get that full lineup, I will post that in or go over that on the show in the Hitting the Road segment.
Hmm.
New Animals as leaders is in the works. So any fans of those guys, they got new music coming. More new music to talk about, I guess.
Yep.
Trapped is off of the Power Man 5000 and El Nino tour, and Priest has been added. I didn't really read into
Not
that.
yeah,
I don't.
not
I
that
don't.
priest, the other priest.
Yeah, no, but I didn't. Not Judas Priest,
Not
just
Judas
Priest,
Priest. No.
just Priest.
Yeah.
No Judas in this one.
Nope.
But I didn't really read into that, so I don't really know what caused them to drop off of that. But
I didn't see it either.
I mean,
I
like I
saw the
said,
headline. I saw the headline. Didn't see
well,
the.
like I said, this is why we just do the headlines because this is the stuff that if we had time, we probably would have looked into it further, but we didn't. So, like I said, two guys doing 40-hour week jobs, and this, 2 hours worth of content is about the best we can do for you. So,
Hmm.
start sending stars or something. I don't know what to tell you.
I prefer cash, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
yeah. uh, so the Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues teaser trailer is out. So if you haven't seen that, check that out. Conor McGregor was booed twice during a Limp Bizkit concert. Just one of them days, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
Yep.
Uh, Andrea Farrow on Lacuna Coil's visual presentation says it's very important to have these theatrical kind of images, which, I think certain bands have gotten, Ice Nine Kills, In This Moment, those kind of bands have gotten to where they're known for their theatricals. So, I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
almost have to do it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people bitch about Maria changing clothes 50 times, but I mean, I think as far as a fan base, most of the people expect it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I think it gets old too at certain points. It's like, come on, man, I'm out here. You got time to do 7 songs, but instead you do 4 because you get changing clothes every 5 minutes.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think she's
See,
gotten better. I think she's like the last one I seen. She had 3 different things on it, and on the first thing, so she's just pulling stuff off. So
that's a
I
little
mean,
more efficient for
it
sure.
is, yeah. Well, she did change one time, but I mean, it was still better than. Shadow Falls, Brian Ferris says he's excited about the band's new music. We are covering a lot of ground sonically, so that's sound like
I'm
a
in.
good news there. So,
Uh,
Slipknot's V Man says Eloy Casagrande has given the band a whole new lease on life. So we'll see what you know. If it's Slipknot meets Sepultura on the new album, I think I'll be down for that. So,
yeah. Hmm.
Arch Enemies Michael Lamont says the new guitarist Joey Concepcion was a really easy fit. So evidently he's
That's good
picked
too.
up pretty well. So
That's good because he had big shoes to fill after
yes,
Jeff
he
Loomis
did.
left.
Yes, he did. Um, Tracy Guns on Janie Lane. He said, I almost want to say he was over talented in the songwriting department, which is pretty crazy to say about anybody. But I've heard that a lot about Janie Lane from other people that knew him. Said, man, he was just like so ahead of his time with songwriting. It's kind of crazy. Um, Randy
Listen,
Blythe said fans won't have to wait 5 years for new Lamb of God music. So, which I guess with everything going on, he's got a lot of ammo. I don't know.
he probably does. He probably
uh,
does.
oh man. Tom Morello is honored to serve as musical director of Ozzy Osbourne's final concert. I mean, I think you
Eh,
would be honored to be at any part of that concert. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know who the hell picked him, but I mean, it's just
well, I mean, yeah. Sharon
I
or
don't know.
Osbourne.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, they reached to him for the concept for the Guitar Hero game. So I mean, kind
yeah.
of a, kind of a. I guess he's kind of gotten a name for himself from doing all that. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah.
Spirit Box's Courtney LaPlante says Gojira's performance at the Olympic Games was the biggest Main Street moment in the history of metal, which she might not be wrong. I mean, uh, I don't know if it'd be like, I mean, maybe on the current scale, I would say maybe, but probably not ever. But I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
for
know about
for
ever, but
but for current
definitely.
the
I
last
mean,
20 years, probably so. Yeah, I mean,
probably. Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably pretty accurate.
yes,
I don't know about ever, but
yeah. But I mean, I think he kind of put people. I think he kind of put metal back into people's faces,
it did.
with that.
Yeah.
So and people was like, oh, we're missing out on some stuff here. But yeah, well, I mean, if you're not following our show, you're missing out because we give you new music every week.
Every week.
Uh,
That's right. That's right.
uh, And you talked about the John Fives thing. I had that as a thing, but you talked about it, so we're good.
Mm.
Ian Asbury on New Music from the Cult says if it happens, it will happen organically. Wouldn't that be crazy to get a new Cult album in
Yeah.
2026 or some shit?
Yeah, it would.
Like
Yes, it
what?
would.
That's unreal.
It
And then
absolutely would.
Iron Maiden's Infinite Dreams, the official visual history book, is due in the fall. And if you have been following it, they're also working on a
A documentary.
documentary
Yeah.
that coincides with their half century of music. So
And I saw something that's going to get a theatrical run too.
exactly, yep. And then one more thing I just seen, Kiss's Gene Simmons. I got to take a shot at being a weatherman on a Los Angeles TV station. That should have been pretty
I
interesting.
saw that. I saw that on
uh,
Facebook a little while ago.
yeah, it's raining fire here, and but that was all of the events that
All
I
right.
seen. So
All
I
right.
don't know if
I
you had anything
wanted
to add to that, but
I actually do.
okay.
And like I saw a headline. It was on Blabbermouth, but I'm sure it was on multiple platforms because this is something that kind of coincided with when Pantera decided to go back out on this legacy tour.
Mhm.
Before the tour started, uh, there was talk about there. You know, there was rumors floating around about Pantera like making new music.
Right.
And I remember reading about that, and we talked about it. And I remember at the time thinking that I didn't think that that was a good idea. The tour,
Hmm.
of course, the tour is a good idea. Getting out and playing the songs live so people can experience them.
Hmm.
You know, you didn't have a chance to see them live until now, and then like Kayla wants to see them. She never got. She wasn't. She wasn't
Right.
alive.
Right.
So it's been a while for me. I saw something earlier this week that Zach Wild had said that there are a lot of riffs that Dimebag wrote that never got recorded, and he wouldn't be against making new Pantera music using some of those unfinished riffs.
Hmm.
And when we were talking earlier in the show about the fact that what band is all the original members. And it's kind of funny that we talked about that because, like, when I first saw that story earlier this week, I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I don't know that I would be fully against that now. I was at first when it first came up. Back when they first announced that Zach and Charlie were going to be filling in for Vinny
Hmm.
and Dime, and I was like, I don't know if they should do that. But seeing the story this week, talking about what we talked about early in the show, talking about how Metallica's not all original, Iron Maiden's not all original, Megadeth's not all original, Machine Head's not all original. All of these big name bands, all of some of our Slipknot's not all original. Some of our
Yeah.
some of our favorite bands aren't original and haven't been for the longest time.
Hmm.
When I saw that story, I was like, you know what? I don't know that I would be 100% against it now. Because I mean,
Right.
because why would I be? Why
Well,
would
the
I
thing,
be?
I think the thing is, if you're going to do that, I think that's a perfect way to go about doing it, is because you're taking risks from Dom and bringing them to life for people
Right.
that and it's stuff you've never heard,
Right.
but they're his. So I mean, if you're
Yeah.
gonna, so in a sense, he's still contributing to the band. 22 years after he's
Yeah.
gone. I mean, or
Right.
21 years after he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of amazing to sit here and think, okay, yeah, it's not going to be Dom, but it's going to be his riff, his
Yeah.
writings. I mean, that's
Yeah.
going to be played. So, I
Right.
mean, when you think about it in that sense, I guess you kind of have a different perspective on it.
Yeah. So that's what
Um,
I'm saying. Like once I
yeah,
saw it and
because
I got to
because
thinking about it, I was like,
because I agreed with you when we were talking about it before. It's like, man, I just don't know. Like, you'd have to call it something else, not Panther. We were saying that.
yeah.
But now that like I said, I've read that story too, and it's funny that you said that because that kind of crossed my mind when I was reading it. It's kind of like, yeah, it may not be such a bad idea if
Right.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
and not to say that they should go forward and make 10 albums or anything, but
Well, no. I mean,
at least make one
yeah.
and say, hey, this is the final writings of Dimebag and Vinny, or something like
Yeah.
that. I mean, um,
I mean, Static X did the same thing with the vocal
right
recordings of
with
Wings. They
Wayne,
did the
yeah,
same thing with Project Regeneration. So,
yeah.
so that's the thing is, I mean, now that you know, now I don't know that I would definitely like, I, I would be intrigued for sure.
Right, for
Do
sure.
I do I see it happening? I don't even know if I could if I sitting here now, I don't know if I still see it happening. Like if
I don't
you
either.
know,
I
I'm
mean,
I'm
you got
I
to look
am
at what the other, like, you got to Anthrax is doing their own things.
mhm.
Black Label's got new stuff coming
Yep.
out.
Yeah, they do.
Down is writing. So I mean,
They are.
you got those three people doing their own thing outside of
Yeah.
Pantera right now because Pantera's kind of on a back burner. Except for the shows with Metallica and stuff. So they're not actually touring; they're just kind of on those shows with
Well,
them,
they're well,
those
they're
guys.
they're
So,
they're about to start. They're
well, I
about to
know, but
start because I
I'm
mean
saying
they
it's not like a 30 city tour or anything. Is what I'm saying. I mean, they're not
yeah.
going out for 3-4 months at a time. So
That's true. That's true.
that's what I'm getting at. Like they're
Yeah, but
they're
no,
able to
that's
go out. They're able to go out for
yeah.
6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and come back and then start Anthrax, Black Label, down. So I
It's
mean, it's
true.
kind of
Yeah.
and it'll probably coincide with the releases of those albums, honestly. So I mean,
Probably. So it would be it would just be interesting because I was against it at first, and
right.
now thinking about it, knowing, especially knowing that there is unfinished
Mm-hmm.
and unheard
Dimebag Riffs, yeah.
and unheard work, I would be interested to hear it in that respect. But I mean, if the four of them were to get together and write all brand new music, I don't know if it would have the
I guess
same feel to it.
I,
I
gue-
don't
I
know.
guess
It's
the I
just
guess the only one that really didn't do anything is Rex. I mean, he's just kind of like it's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. But
I'm sure he has irons in the fire, but
well, yeah, I'm sure he's
I'm sure he
I,
does, but
I don't know. He kind of seems like the kind of person that's just like, yeah, just gonna just gonna
just
sit
kind of
around
goes
and
just kind of goes with the flow.
yeah,
Yeah,
he kind of seems with a go with the flow kind of guy. So I mean, he's just like,
he kind
you
of
know,
always has. Oh,
right? Yeah,
yeah,
he's just kind of the laid back guy in the band, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Yeah, but
But yeah,
cool.
that was the only thing. I just wanted to bring that up because, like I
Well,
said,
yeah, I'm glad you
we
did because I
yeah,
actually forgot about that one. So
because I like I say, I saw the story and we kind of half-ass made an indirect reference to bands not being all original anymore, and then
mhm.
I was just like the two kind of tied in. I was like, want to at least just touch on that for a minute because I basically have changed my perspective on it, really.
Yeah. Did you
Which I
talk
mean,
about? Did
people are allowed to do that, you know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Like my memory was to get back. Did you talk about Matt Pinfield at all?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah. So
I just posted that in the group. I
yeah,
completely forgot all about it.
yeah,
No, but he came out of his coma.
yeah. It sure did, man. It's good stuff,
Came
man.
out of his coma and was communicating and posted shit on social media. Goes, "Yep, I'm still alive, still
Yeah,
here." So, I mean,
it
he's great, crazy, good though, nice.
is. Yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
all right. I guess that will take us into our hitting the road segment. I don't have any contributions this week, so I'll let Chris take that away. So,
Okay, all right. Well, that's kind of a good thing because I've got to touch over over 3 pages. So it was a relatively busy week for concert announcements, which is never really a bad thing for all of us heavy metal fans. No
mhm.
shortage of stuff to go see. So, leading off this week, the week of the 8th through the 14th, hitting the road over at the PRP first. Cradle of Filth, Uwada, and Black Satellite have announced a U.S. tour starting May 16th in Bozeman, Montana at the Elm, finishing May 23rd in Sacramento, California at the Ace of Spades. Seether has announced a tour with Mammoth WVH. POD Nonpoint will be appearing at select dates
Mhm.
on varying lineups. Starting May 3rd in Phoenix, Arizona at U Fest with Mammoth WVH. Finishing May 31st in Biloxi, Mississippi at Hard Rock Live. That is a Seether only date. Architects, Wage War, and House of Protection are going to Europe and to the UK starting October 1st in Munich, Germany at Zenith, finishing October 12th in London, England at the O2. Walls of Jericho have announced their European dates, which are mostly festival appearances, starting June 19th in Copenhagen, Denmark at Copenhagen Festival, finishing August 9th in Vilmar, Germany at the Tells Bells Festival. Haywire is going on a U.S. tour. No word on the openers yet. This is a 79 date tour. I
Wow, that's a
counted.
tour. That's
That's
a
a
tour.
tour. That is a tour. Starting May 2nd in Reading, Pennsylvania at Reverb, finishing August 2nd in Boston, Massachusetts at Skate Park, which will be a free show. They will be in Nashville on May 22nd at Dark Matter. 79 dates. I counted them. I was like, holy shit, look at this list.
That's
I
crazy.
counted them all. I was like, God damn, that's a lot. Gorilla Biscuits and Killing Time have announced a trio of southeastern U.S. shows. May 23rd in Atlanta at Terminal West featuring Speed. May 24th in Nashville, Tennessee at Eastside Bowl featuring the Mongoloids. And May 25th in Louisville, Kentucky at Portal featuring By the Grace of God. Confessions of a Traitor has announced a tour with No Treaty, Meadows, Bloodlines, and Lightworker appearing at select dates on varying lineups. Excuse me, starting June 13th in Nashville at the Cobra, finishing July 6th in St. Louis, Missouri at Platypus. Terror, Spirit World, and Pest Control have announced some obituary tour off dates, starting April 23rd in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Fremont Country Club, featuring Nails as the headliner, Finishing May 26th in Baltimore, Maryland, the Baltimore Soundstage featuring Nails, Incendiary, Drug Church, Soul Blind, Doubt, and Out to Destroy. Catatonia, Evergrey, and Cloger, I don't know, have announced a European and UK tour of their own, starting November 11th in Tampere, Finland at Tavara Asama, finishing December 20th in Stockholm, Sweden at Fallen. The Plot in You, Currents, Seosin, and Cane Hill are going to Europe and to the UK, starting October 31st in Wiesbaden, Germany at Schlachthof, finishing November 19th in Warsaw, Poland at Progressia. Speed has announced some West Coast dates of their own. April 11th in Indio, California at Coachella. April 15th in Los Angeles at the Roxy featuring High Tech and Leave No Doubt. April 16th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the American Legion Hall Post 8 featuring Leave No Doubt, Chasm, and Thousand Ways to Die. And then April 18th back in Indio, California at Coachella. Then Speed and Whispers have announced a North American tour with Haywire and Gorilla Biscuits appearing at select dates. Starting, I know, starting May 11th in Columbus, Ohio at Sonic Temple. Whispers will not be at that show. And finishing October 2nd in Sacramento, California at Aftershock. Whispers will not be at that show either. There is a Nashville date, May 22nd at Dark Matter featuring Haywire. That's one of Haywire's 79 dates that I just talked about a minute ago. Sunny Day Real Estate is going on a US, Canada, and UK tour. No word yet on the openers. Starting May 28th in Montreal, Quebec at Theatre Beanfield, finishing September 24th in Vancouver, BC at the Commodore Ballroom. Minus the Bear is going on a 20th anniversary tour for their Menos El Oso album. No word yet on the openers for that tour, starting October 4th in Portland, Oregon at Roseland Theater, finishing November 29th in Seattle, Washington at the Shoebox. Ice Nine Kills has announced a trio of Pick Your Poison dates with Hail the Sun and Word Alive. Fans will be able to vote on the lineups for each one of those shows on the there's an app that Ice Nine Kills. They'll be able to vote on the lineup for those shows. April 29th in Richmond, Virginia at the National, May 15th in Omaha, Nebraska at the Admiral, and May 27th in St. Louis at the Pageant. Deftones, Phantogram, and Idols and the Barbarians of California are going on a North American tour. Phantogram will be appearing on the first half of the tour, and Idols will be appearing on the second half of the tour. The tour will begin August 22nd in Vancouver, BC at Rogers Arena, finishing September 7th in Kansas City, Missouri at the T-Mobile Center. Heavy Heavy Low Low has announced their summer tour with Dr. Manhattan, Melted Bodies, and Nights Like These appearing at select dates on varying lineups. Starting July 20th in Chicago, Illinois at Subterranean, finishing July 28th in Orlando, Florida at the Conduit. They will be in Nashville on July 23rd at Eastside Bowl with Melted Bodies and Dr. Manhattan appearing. Machine Head is going to Europe this summer. Starting July 1st in Helsinki, Finland at the Yahalil featuring Flesh God Apocalypse. Finishing August 13th in Arnhem, Netherlands at Musis featuring Diggith. Fear Factory, Frail, and the Halo Effect will also be appearing at select dates on the tour. In Fairy, Vitriol, Grey Lotus, and Demon King are going on a North American tour starting May 30th in Raleigh, North Carolina at Chapel of Bones, finishing June 27th in Nashville, Tennessee at the End. Sleep Token has announced their U.S. tour with the support acts still to be announced, starting September 16th in Duluth, Georgia at the GAS South Arena, finishing October 11th in LA at Crypto.com Arena. Fall 50 Feet is going on a U.S. tour. The support acts to be announced, possibly. Not even sure if there are going to be any, but I have a feeling there would have to be. Starting March 28th, rather, in Indianapolis, Indiana at Healer. So that tour kicks off relatively soon.
Yeah.
Finishing April 6th in Kingsport, Tennessee at the VFW Post 4933. That's the only Tennessee date. Cattle Decapitation has announced their European and UK dates. Fit for an Autopsy, Incantation, Skeletal Remains, and Severe Torture will be appearing at select club dates, starting June 4th in Salvesborg, Sweden at Sweden Rock, finishing June 29th in Cartagena, Spain at Rock Imperium. Stick to Your Guns will be going to Europe and to the UK. Terror, Initiate, and Blank File will be appearing at the European dates, with Love Letter appearing at the appearing at the UK dates. Sorry, I had like a little, my brain locked up there for a second. Starting June 19th in Dessel, Belgium at the Grasspop Metal Meeting, finishing July 17th in Cuxhaven, Germany at Deichbrand Festival. Then over at blabbermouth.net, Danko Jones has announced a European tour starting November 19th in Helsinki, Finland at Tavastia, finishing December 13th in Hamburg, Germany at Docks. Zebra is going on their 50th anniversary tour. Here's another note that I didn't know at the time, that it was going to tie in at all. And it's weird because earlier in the show, we talked about how many bands are all original
Mhm.
nowadays. Then we talked about Pantera a minute ago. I didn't know this at the time, and I didn't know it would tie in at all, but check this shit out. Zebra is the longest running American band touring with all original members.
Wow, that's crazy.
50 years, all three guys are original members.
That's wild.
Isn't that nuts? That's crazy. Starting March 14th, so the first show was tonight in
Mhm.
Lafayette, Louisiana, which is where my wife is from, at Rockin' Bowl, finishing November 26th in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Orpheum Theater. Michael Schenker is going on a My Years with UFO tour with Armored Saint appearing at select dates,
Mm.
starting
Nice.
September 5th in Orlando, Florida at Plaza Live, finishing October 12th in Houston, Texas at White Hope Music Hall. Armored Saint will be at that show. Tom Kiefer and LA Guns are going on a U.S. tour starting August 28th in Louisville, Kentucky at the Iroquois Amphitheater, I should be more specific, finishing October 4th in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania at the Sherman Theater. And lastly, over at the Scarlet Records Facebook page, Eon
Mhm.
Gods and Imperial Age are going on a European tour starting April 23rd in Siegburg, Germany at Kubana, finishing May 18th in Krakow, Poland at Club Gwarek. Gwarek? Gwarek, yeah. So all of that is hitting the road for the 8th through the 14th.
Nice. And I noticed the venue bowling thing is becoming a popular thing. It seems like,
Yeah, yeah,
and we have two here,
yeah, we
in the
do.
Nashville area, and then I heard you mention at least twice in that, that
Mm-hmm.
rundown. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of crazy to hear it in other states. That's kind of a
Yeah,
going thing, I guess. So,
yeah. Well, it's kind of it's a pretty cool setup because you can obviously make money in multiple ways under one
well,
roof. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool that you can do that. And like Brooklyn Bowl is a cool fucking place to go. And I even liked East Side
hmm
Bowl, even though it was smaller. But
yeah,
Brooklyn Bowl is a cool place.
it is. Yeah, wait till you see the pinnacle, though.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. I am. I'm looking
Uh,
forward to that.
uh, All right, before we get into our theme of the week of this week, this is last week's theme of the week there, land and sea. So if you want to check that out, there is the link, and I will post up the next link once we're done with when we get into the album review. So we'll leave that one up for a little bit. Theme of the week this week was crime and punishment. That's kind of we was talking about this earlier, where you said that we did order, and then did it a while back too. So it was like, yeah. So you had mentioned crime and punishment, and I said, well, let's just go with that one. So that's what I had wrote down. So I don't know if that's how you had it in
Well,
the
well,
playlist or not, but I guess you can change it if you need to. But
I I will change it because I actually have it as Law and Order because
oh, okay,
well, I can edit it. That's fine. I must have missed that little exchange there in our conversation because I had just Law and Order stuck in my head the whole week.
oh, gotcha.
But yeah, no, I can
Yeah, when
change.
you
I
told
can
me that, and I said, "Oh, well, we can do it. We can do it with what you mentioned." And
Yeah,
then
I must have completely just spaced on that. But yeah, I
of
can
course,
I will absolutely I'll absolutely change the name of the playlist. That's totally fine. But it's good that we are actually doing it that way, um, because I kind of aired I kind of aired that way anyway. So, but I still think it's going to work out. So it's going to be good. We got like we said at the beginning at the top of the show. We got 40 songs between us already. So.
oh wow. So my bad. So I go back and look at this, and I'm like, I had typed it out and never sent it to you.
Oh,
How did I do that? How was I?
so I missed a text that never got
Well,
sent.
it's well. I guess it never sent to you because it's red on my end, so
That's what happened.
it never went anywhere.
That's what happened. It didn't get
Yeah,
delivered.
so I was just like, oh, okay. So I was like, I'm gonna go back and look. I'm sure I sent it to you. It's fucking red. So you said, well, I think I'm going to add punishments to the list because we did Order and Chaos in October, and every song I thought of for Order is on that list already.
Yeah, see,
LOL.
that was my problem.
And I had said, I said, well, that's fine. We can do it. We can do it with Crime and Punishment, like you said, and it's red, so it never got to you. So
Okay.
well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should
No,
have looked
that's
at that.
fine.
I should have. It's all good. So.
No, it's fine. It's gonna work out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not posted anywhere yet. So I mean,
Yeah, it's gonna work out.
all right. So crime and punishment. Like I said, I took the crime side of things. So because I'm the bad guy here, but
Well, you did prefer playing a heel.
yeah, true. Uh, but so I took the crime side. So I'll and I'll explain some of the stuff here too when I get into it. But the first one I had was Sacred Reich: Crimes Against Humanity from the American Way of 1990. Then I went with Anthrax: I Am the Law from Among the Living 1987, and I went with this because, like I said, I started doing like the like getting busted, I guess, because
Hmm.
that for the crime because it's not the
Yeah,
punishment side yet. So I was like, yeah,
yeah.
makes sense, I guess. So I was kind of going with the crime justice uh, line there. But if you got any of these, that's fine. We can always because I mean, like I said, it kind of can go. You know, when you talk about law, it kind of can go
Uh huh.
crime or punishment, I guess. So
Yeah.
but then I went with Avatar Justice from the Hunter Gatherer in 2020. Then I went with Primal Fear, Hounds of Justice from Apocalypse 2018. And then I went with Metallica and Justice for All from And Justice for All 1987. Then I kind of went back to. That's when I kind of like, you know what, this could be either or. So let's try to get back into committing crimes. So, so I kind of like had to take a step back right there. Because I was afraid I would wind up getting too far in, and then we would have a bunch of duplicates or something. So I
I
was just like,
gotcha.
took a step back, and the next one I went with was Lamb of God and Creator, the State of Unrest. That was actually a single from 2023.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I went with a Mice and Men, Product of a Murderer from The Flood 2012. Then I went with Ice Nine Kills, Stabbing in the Dark, The Silver Scream 2018. I think you could have went with a bunch of different Ice
You
Nine
could
Kills
have.
songs at
Yeah.
this point, but then I went with In This Moment, The Purge from God Mode 2023.
Nice.
Then I went with Megadeth, Kill the King, because, that's illegal.
Yes, it is.
War Chest 2007. Then I went with Bullet from a Valentine, Death by a Thousand Cuts from Bullet from a Valentine 2021. Then I went with Trivium, A Gunshot to the Head of Trepidation from
Oh,
Ascendancy
that's
2005.
so good. Oh, it's so good.
Then I went with Five Finger Death Punch, Burn It All Down because arson is a crime.
Yes, it is.
War is the Answer 2009. Avenged Sevenfold, Natural Born Killer from Nightmare 2010. Then went with Testament Over the Wall because getting over in the United States through that wall is illegal.
I mean,
From the Legacy 1987. Then went with Exodus, A Lesson in Violence from Bonded by Blood 1985, since they are going on their 40th anniversary of that album this year. Then I went with Kubla Khan, Texas, which. So I went with that song Cannibal. Of course, cannibalism is illegal.
yep,
Just ask Jeffrey Dahmer.
yep.
Exhibition of Prowess 2000. Well, you can't ask him because he's not alive. But Exhibition of Prowess 2024, which is cool because I kind of got a new song on there. So, and then last but not least, I went with Warbringer Shoot to Kill from War Without End 2008.
Nice.
So, and
All
if
right,
we
we.
have some stuff in there, I can always, and I probably will add some more criminal stuff. I
Oh,
just kind
sure.
of got off
Yeah,
track there in the beginning. I'm like, I probably need to reel this back in a little bit. So,
yeah. No, that's
um,
fine. We did have a couple of duplicates, but that's
I
fine because
figured that when I
like I
did
say,
that.
I
So,
had like I say, I had 22 songs. So that just knocks it down to 20. So that's fine.
yeah, that's fine.
So let's see. I had the punishment side, leading off with Capital Punishment by Eradicator off the Atomic
Nice.
Blast from 2009. Train of Consequences by Megadeth off Euthanasia from 1994. Then I had Prison Sex by Tool off Undertow from 1993, because trust me, that's a punishment nobody wants.
Right.
Then I went with And Justice for All by Metallica off the album of the same name from 1988. Then I went with Guilty as Sin by Devil Driver off The Fury of Our Maker's Hand from 2005. Then I went with the other side of that, Innocent Man by Primal Fear off Delivering the Black from 2014. There Will Be Consequences by Zentrix off Bury the Pain from 2019. Then I had Justice by Avatar off Hunter Gatherer from 2020, the first duplicate. Then I went with Occult Perpetrator by Sodom off of Genesis 19 from 2020. Carnival Justice by Death Angel off Killing Season from 2008. Then I had Guilty by Lamb of God off of Resolution from 2012. Then I had End of My Innocence from our friends in Brainstorm off Wall of Skulls from 2021. Justice by Saxon off of Lionheart from 2004. Hammer of Justice by Hammerfall off Chapter 5, Unbent, Unbowed, Unbroken from 2005. Inmate 4859 by Sabaton off of Heroes from 2014. The Prisoner by Iron Maiden off The Number of the Beast from 1982. I had Over the Wall by Testament off The Legacy from 1987. Then I had Nervosa's cover of Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy off their Jailbreak album from 2023. Then I had Escape by Metallica by Ride the Lightning, 1984. Yes, Metallica's on here twice. It's my list. Get over it. Then I went with Riot by Annihilator off Ballistic Sadistic from 2020. Then I had Prisoner by Accept off of Eat the Heat from 1989. And lastly, I had Sentenced to Burn by Cannibal Corpse off Gallery of Suicide from 1998.
Wow. I ain't gonna lie. I had two songs in my mind for that side, and I was like, I cannot believe you did not mention either one of them. It's wild because one of them's an Angela Sapatrita song, so I'm surprised you did not put that
Sharpen
on
the Guillotine?
there. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that and you know how much I love putting Angela Sapatrita on these lists, but I mean, it's just, well, the funny thing is neither one of us put Breaking the Law in here, so I mean, it's just one of those
well,
things.
I think we've had that one on here a lot.
That's
though,
kind
so.
of why I didn't. That's kind of why I didn't put Sharpen the Guillotine on here either. Same kind of deal. As much as I love Angela Sapatrita, so kind of the same reason. But
You add it or I do. I don't give a shit.
well, there's nothing that says we can't add after the fact. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh man.
Either way, it's really shaping up to be a hell of a list. So
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great.
it's be a good one.
Great playlist.
And hell, Kayla said she's got several in mind too. So we'll see what she's got going on too. So.
Well, she's always had some of the ones that I always kick myself for missing. Sometimes I'm just like,
but again,
man,
it's another set of eyes and ears, and it's another brain that's full of songs. So there you go.
Yeah. Cool deal.
Actually, I'm going to send this to both of you right now.
All right. And that will definitely lead us into our album reviews of the week.
Yes, it will.
Let's see. All right.
Yeah.
So this is the playlist of new music. So the stuff that came out this week. So
There was some really good stuff that came out this week.
There was some good stuff out this week. So not to mention we had some big albums with Warbringer. And,
Yes.
Was it Mantra had an album out?
Yeah.
Godslave. I haven't even listened to the Godslave.
I know.
Yet, so.
I haven't. I finished the Warbringer on the way home after I listened.
I still got a few songs to get through that one. So Whitechapel, okay.
Yeah, that was last week, but yeah. Still good. Kayla absolutely loved the Whitechapel album, so
yeah, it was good.
Yeah, she loved it. So
Dorothy, Dorothy's new album was out this week. So
Kayla's I told her that the new Whitechapel was out, and she listened to it at work, and she had gotten through like the first couple songs, and she said, "This is easily a 4-horn album." I said, "Yeah, I'm leaning that way too." And then later on, she got all the way through it, and she said, "I'm changing my rating to 5 horns out of 5." I said, "No, you can't do it. Those are the rules." So
that's right. Yeah, 10 of 10, no notes. uh, oh wow, that's pretty funny.
I had to laugh at her. So
That
I
is
told her,
funny.
like, nope, you can't change your rating.
It's already in concrete.
It's
So
too late. So,
yeah.
but no,
All
it
right.
was Whitechapel was good too. But but yeah, there's last couple weeks, there's been some really good shit come out.
Yeah. So there's that playlist again. So there's also like new music from Cradle of Filth, Rivers of Nile, Blood Red Hourglass.
Yep.
I mean, there were some big hitters out this week. Let's see, Destruction, of course. They had another release
Oh,
out there, recently released album. So,
which was
um,
so good. Oh, it
yeah.
was so good.
And, Allegion had a new album. So, I mean, crazy, crazy, man. It's getting into the big hitters now. So, of course,
Yep.
like I said, April's full of them. So, I
Hmm.
mean, we better get ready.
We're not, and hell,
So,
we're not
well,
even
no, we're
done with
not. But I'm
March
just
yet. I
saying,
mean,
we already know like there's some big hitters in April though. So,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And one of our friends has a release next week.
yep, yep, sure it is. All right, album reviews. I went with the band called Black and Damned. Album was called Resurrection. They were formed in 2020, and they are a traditional power metal band hailing from. And I'm going to kill this name, and I'm sorry, but it's a German name, so just forgive me. Hailing
Right.
from Stuttgart, Baden, Württemberg, Germany. Hopefully, I didn't butcher it too bad, but current members are Michael Vetter on bass. It says bass 2020, and then guitars from 2020 to present. So I guess they did one of those swap overs for
Must have.
bass to guitar. And then we had
Yep.
Axel Winkler on drums, Aki Reisman on guitars, Roland Sadell on vocals, and then I don't know if it's how to pronounce this name, Pape Love. I guess it's Pappe. So I'm not sure if that's Pape or
Sounds right to me.
Love, but it's being German. That's kind of the way I would imagine it, But whatever. And that was he took over bass in 2021. So so they obviously swapped those guys around during that time. So this is the band's third full length release. So they're definitely a busy band from 2020 to now, and already got 3 full albums under their belt. So definitely
Nice.
staying busy. So 10 tracks, 43 minutes, 44 seconds in length. So when I listened to this, I got a lot of Judas Priest vibes from this one, especially like Firepower. I think that album kind of jumped out at me whenever I was listening to this. I was like, man, this is reminds me a lot of the Firepower album. So I guess mainly because of some of the songs in there kind of reminded me of some of the Priest songs from that album, but not saying it sounds exactly the same. That's just kind of what it reminded me of. Which isn't a bad thing at all to sound like Judas Priest. I mean, a lot of bands probably
Sure.
wish they did. So, this album's a perfect blend of power and traditional heavy metal. I think there's some excellent guitar solos in there. They did slow the tempo down and went a little dark and gloomy on the third track called Red Heavens. Roland definitely has some incredible range vocally. I like the way he mixes up the styles with the tempos of the instruments. He does that really well. With sometimes you'll hear him. Sometimes it overpowers one way or the instruments overpower them sometimes. So it was good to hear the good. I guess it was a good mix of recording more than anything probably, but. You can't give all the kudos to the musicians, I guess, but but even though we like to,
Right.
I'm almost positive I heard some keyboards sprinkled in a few times, but I'm not really sure, who was credited with because nobody was really credited with playing them, so I'm not really sure who
Ah,
did it.
gotcha.
So I can't, not really sure who to give those kudos to, but you know, good job sprinkling those in where they needed to be. So they, I don't. This is the only thing they kept things slower from track 3 through track 7, which I thought, I kind of got a little not really bored. I just kind of gotten where I'm like, man, need to pull out of here at some point. It's a little much here. So started out strong, but kind of tapered off. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Ah,
like,
yeah.
I like the slower tracks. Don't get me wrong, they are good, but I just wish they would have kept that faster tempo for the majority of the album and kind of sprinkled those in, you know, two or three like spread out, instead of having them like clumped in and it's all in the middle. But that's not my album, so do what you want to do with it. So, I mean, and to me, that was kind of the only flaw that I could find was just kind of the tempo wasn't like where I thought could be. Because I mean, the first couple of songs started out like that. And they were. I thought, man, as soon as I heard this, I said, oh, this is gonna be a contender. And then it just kind of like tapered off. I'm just like, oh man, it's kind of disappointing, because
Oh, kind of
I
plateaued
kind of
early, huh?
I kind of had high hopes for it in the beginning, and then it kind of did that, and I'm just like, oh, come on, really? But then it kind of like come back at the end, and then kind of, I think like 7 and 8 was kind of up there, and then it went right back. 9 and 10 went right back. I'm just like, oh, come on, man, you're killing me. But so I'm gonna give it 3.5 oranges just based on that. Like I said, not a terrible album. It's a good listen. I think you should check it out for sure. So.
All right. Well, you had me. You kind of had me with Judas Priest, So
Right? Yeah, yeah. Just think like the
especially
song, like,
Firepower albums. So yeah.
yeah, like what Sea of Red and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I got you.
songs kind of like that, kind of what I
Yeah,
kind of heard in
not
there.
like not like full fledged all out ballads, but yeah,
Right, but they were, yeah,
something with something with slower tempos, even though they still have the heavier
right. And
feel. Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah. I
another one
got you.
he had.
Yeah, I
He
got
had
you.
another one on that album too, didn't he? Oh no, that's Invincible Shield. Hold on, I'm on the
Yeah.
wrong one. Firepower. Let me see what Firepower. I just wanted to try to, because I'm trying to like think of that song. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's killing me. Children of the Sun, that song too. So like both of those songs kind of, the songs in this album kind of reminded me of both of those songs. So,
Okay.
it wasn't like total ballady, but it was slow enough to take the tempo down. When he got me hyped for, got me all hyped up. And like I said, Firepower was a perfect
Mm-hmm.
album because it just had those two tracks in there, and the rest of it was, pretty in your face. So, you know,
Yeah.
if like 7 of these tracks were fast paced like that, I would have probably given it a lot higher rating because I think
Mm-hmm.
the capability's definitely there with the way they're the the recording and their Roland's vocal range is there. So I mean he could definitely power through a lot of that stuff and put it on a better, faster performance. I think, but it's what it is. So I might actually go back and listen to a couple of their older records to see what they sound like. Honestly,
Mm.
because just to see if that's kind of like what they've kind of stuck to, or if they've kind of changed it up for this record. Because some bands kind of change it up at some point because of certain reasons. I mean, maybe he's like hitting all those high notes in the first two and kind of like, all right, I got to calm down a little bit. So,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah. All right. My album review this week is by Night Stalker. Return from the Point of No Return. They are a stoner rock slash metal band formed in Athens, Greece in 1989. Their lyrical themes are love, drugs, alcohol, and psychedelia. They are currently on Heavy Psych Sounds Records, and
yep.
that's one of the record labels that sends us stuff, and they actually sent that one to us. Didn't get a chance to listen to it early, but I decided to take this one and run with it since it came out today. They're a four-piece consisting of Dinos Rulos on drums, Tolis Matsios on guitars, RG on drums and vocals, and Andreas Lagios on bass. RG is the only original member. So there you go. I mean, this band's not original either.
Right. Yeah.
So this is the band's seventh full length album. Their debut album, Use, came out in 1996. So they had a little bit of a kind of a little slower start to their career
Yeah.
too. Formed in '89, had their first full length come out 7 years later. The new album is 8 tracks in length, clocking in at 38:13. Um, this one, ironically enough, this album kind of did the same thing yours did. Funny enough,
Really.
started out strong, kind of tapered off towards the end. Um, had with it being a stoner rock album, you can kind of expect it to be a
Hmm.
little bit more mid tempo. A lot of Black Sabbath vibe to it. Bluesy riffs. Stuff like that. Little psychedelic hooks and stuff like that. Some of the I was pleasantly surprised by some of the guitar solos early on like just track two, Just a Burn, and track three, Super Freak. The guitar solos, I was a little bit surprised by those. They were a little bit more up tempo than I normally get from a stoner rock album because I this is one of those subgenres I don't usually listen to, and not because I'm not a stoner. It's just I don't really gravitate towards kind of like the predominantly mid tempo stuff. I like my pace a little quicker, a little heavier, stuff like that. And then, it definitely went a little the pace went a little bit more steadily mid tempo towards the end of the album and went more to the rock side of the rock slash metal kind of, the little ratio there. So it wasn't nearly as heavy towards the end. I mean, if it would have still kept the heaviness, even with the mid tempo, would have been fine. But like I say, this album kind of, like I say, ironically enough, kind of did what yours did. Kind of started off strong, kind of tapered off towards the end. Um, so I mean, it was a relatively easy listen. Only 38 minutes, so it was pretty quick. Even though track eight was about 7.5 minutes, it was the longest song on the album. But you know, none of the tracks felt like they were too long. Even the 7.5 minute track, I mean, it didn't feel like, okay, you could have cut this off a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago. Because sometimes you're listening to a song and be like, okay, some of this shit's unnecessary. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that feeling, so that was kind of nice. Even though, towards the end of the album, like I say, they kind of not went soft necessarily, but they kind of went away from metal and definitely went more towards the rock side. So, um, and the cool thing is that RG kind of does sound like Dave Windorf from Monster Magnet. So he's kind of got a
Okay.
little bit of that sound going on. So that was kind of neat. But I'm gonna give this one 3 horns out of 5.
Space
Not bad.
World,
Yeah, not
motherfucker.
too bad. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one 3 horns out of 5 this week.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then that would probably leave us to Warbringer, the
Mm-hmm.
new album, The Sword sorry, Wrath and Ruin. I'm
Wrath and
listening
Ruins.
as
Yep.
The Sword and the Cross was on the playlist. I was just looking at it. And I was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
what? But
Yeah.
yeah, the Wrath and Ruin, and man, Warbringer never disappoints with album covers either.
No.
So that's a pretty cool album cover.
Yeah. No. It
Um,
was. Yeah. That
but
one. That one's gonna be that. That'll be definitely be an album cover we look at the end of the
oh
year.
well, yeah.
And I would not. Of course, it's just the Ides of March at this point. So, but I would not be the least bit surprised if we're talking about this album come the end of December.
Oh, for sure.
I would not
Yeah.
be surprised on the in at all
Yeah.
between this album, the Warbringer album, the Destruction album last week. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we're talking about some of these albums 9 months from
Hmm.
now.
And then they got a lot of, and like I said, we was talking about this. There's 2 discs to this album, which we did not realize either until,
Yep.
we started listening to it. And it was like the second disc is a bunch of live
Yeah.
live songs on it. So
Yeah.
from Budapest and, Germany, Liverpool, and
Yep.
other places. So France. So, it's pretty cool. But the original, the 8 songs is all new, but the other disc is live tracks from
Yeah.
previous release songs. So,
I will say, I would have liked more than 8 tracks, but I mean,
well, I mean,
that's just us
War,
being selfish.
Warbringers. I mean, Warbringers kind of been known for that, though. I mean, they
Yeah.
8, 9 songs
Right.
out.
I know.
I mean, they usually don't go 12, 13 songs. I mean, that's kind of odd for those guys. So, I say that, and I might probably need to check myself before I say that. But yeah, it's definitely you know yeah. So like Weapons of Tomorrow, I had 10.
Yeah.
I
So I
took it.
mean,
So they had 10. So
yeah. So I
I
mean,
thought they kind of stuck around. Yeah. So Woes of Anguish was 8. Uh, Empire's Collapse was actually 11 songs, which is surprising. I didn't realize that. Uh, yeah. So War Without End. Yeah. I mean, they have been around. 10, 11 songs most of the time.
mhm.
So. Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
kind of
like I
weird
say,
to.
that was just me. That was just me being selfish
Yeah.
because
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll be.
I enjoyed it so much. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it's a great album, dude. Like
yeah.
I'm still like let's see, where was I at on this thing? Yeah, I was listening to Strike from the Sky last, so I got two songs left, and I'm already like, unless those are just horrible songs, it's a 4.5 for me. I mean,
They're
until
not.
unless so I mean, they would have to definitely take a deep dive, you know, or a tailspin for it to be
Yeah,
any less than that for me. So
yeah. No,
I don't
they're
know what
not.
you think, but
They're not. I still have one song to finish,
okay,
but yeah. So I don't
that's
see any. I don't.
that's my initial, you know,
Yeah,
rating. We'll
I
see,
don't.
but.
I don't see any indication of a drop off towards the end.
Well, I mean, if you're a friend of Warbringer, you probably know that they kind of bring it. So, not to take
No,
anything
yeah, no
out
pun
of their name,
intended.
but
Yeah,
I mean that's
no pun intended.
kind of
But
what
yeah,
they do. So,
they absolutely
uh,
do.
oh man. So, all right, guys, what do we got to look forward to next week?
Yeah,
I know
looking forward
I
to.
know we got one we're looking forward to. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to next Friday, March 21st, over at our friends at HeavyMusicHQ.com. Leading off with Alien, When Yesterday Comes Around. Am I don't know if it's a mammoth or amamoth. It's spelled a mammoth, but it's all one word.
right.
I'm gonna go with amamoth. It sounds cooler. Distant skies and the ocean flies. Aran Angmar with Ordo Diabolicum. Artok with Morrigan, Goddess of War. Ashes in the Fall with Where Serenity Prevails. That's an EP. As the World Dies with Nebula. Averst with Erasure of Color. As Shara with Ashen Skies. That's an EP. Baku with Soma. Big Big Train with a re-release and an EP. Their re-release is called Bard, and their EP is called Scop. Blacklight with Future Belongs To. Black Yet Full of Stars with Inglorious Red, Bloodywood with New Delhi,
Hmm.
Cabal with Everything Rots, Caboose with Left for Dust, Calicis with Fleshy Waves of Probability, Circle du Chêne with Récits du Automne et des Chess. I'm sure
Okay.
I butchered that French, but
It's
what are you going to do?
chasse. It's chasse.
It might be. I don't know. Plan dos Mortos Cicatriz with Technicas de Morte. I speak Spanish a little better than French.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
the Comancheros with A Decade in the Mirror. Corpus Ophal with a self titled album. Cradle of Filth with The Screaming of the Valkyries. Crimson Glory with the Roadrunner Years. Daemon Systema with 8. ATE 8. Dark
Mm-hmm.
Driven with From the Unbeliever. Dark Meditation with Where the Darkness Bleeds. That's an EP. Dead Bars with All Dead Bars Go to Heaven. Decrepit Youth with Love Psycho Kill Machine. That's an EP. Diamond Construct with Angel Killer Zero Deluxe Edition. We have Diatheque with And the World Was God and the Word Was God. Sorry. Di shit. Disharmonia Mundi with The Dormant Stranger. Dissociate with To Lift the Veil. Drudk with Shadow Play. Drunken Crocodiles with Agony. Embryonal with Inherited Tendencies for Destruction. Eternal White Trees with Prelude of Loss. Euphrosyne with Morris. Foreign with Gutter. Foxy Shazam with Animality Opera. I'd hate to see that fucking album cover.
Right.
I may have to look it up. Galfornital with 3, the Roman numeral. Gates to Hell with Death Comes to All. Ghost Smoker with Inertia Cult. Nod and White Hills with Dropout 3. Got Hard with Stereo Crush. I know that album is in our inbox right now. RPM sent that to
Yep.
us. Greer with Smile, Gryla with The Redeemer's Festering Carcass, Heartline with Falling Heaven, Heavy as the Head with For Your Loss, that's an EP, Heruka with Panacea, that's an EP, Hidden Intent, our buddies from Hidden Intent with
Mm-hmm.
Terraform, I See No with, oh fuck, this is another long ass French, I See No with Le Dernier qui s'en va éteint la lumière. I don't know.
Yeah.
Imperial,
What you said. What
yeah,
you said.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I nailed it. Imperial Triumphant with Gold Star, Indigo Head with In Mora, that's an EP. Iron Form with Cut from Cold Blood, that's an EP. Izzy Rain with a self-titled album, Katla with Scandinavian Pain, Kazia with I Ancestral, Keith
Mm,
Roth with The Law of Diminishing Return, Cryptoporticus with Dark Rainbow, Quarup with A Dor Ao Combustival de Mudanka. Mudanka Dunk. I don't know.
I don't know.
Labyrinth Airs with a self-titled album. Lordy with Limited Dead Edition. I
Mm,
fucking love that album name.
yeah, I've already heard that song. Heard it too.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Lupo Nero with a self-titled album. Marble Orchard with Ruminations of Ruin. Mitochondrial Sun with Machine Dialects. Molotov Solution with Void. That's an EP. Not Varied with Tidlos Tidlos. Tidlos Nadeslos. I don't know. I can't get past Tidlos. It's too funny. Um,
Tidlows, not Deslos.
Tidlos
God.
with Tidlos, Nadeslos. I don't even know if I even said it remotely right. I
Oh
don't
man.
even know. Where was I? Neon Gods slash Own Darkness with a split album. Nightwalker with the Eternal Flame of Death. That's an EP. No Hand Path with Mysticism of Coming of Age. Noise Picker with The Earth Will Swallow the Sun.
No.
Nidvind with Telluria. Nicked Mist with a self-titled EP. Ophidian Memory with Carrion Lord. ORK with Fire Hose of Falsehoods. Osgraph with Reveries of the Arcane Eye, Pop Evil with What Remains, Predator with Unsafe Space, Pyramid Mass with Gargling Rot, that's an EP. I'm not even gonna fucking read this next one. Give me a break. Oh my, okay, I'll give it a try. We have Rothadas with Taviskert a Kisertes Orak Erzete Leidersharang.
Close enough.
That you're getting it once. That's all you're getting. Rotten Filthy with Apotheosis, that's an EP. Rush with Rush 50 box set. Sarmat with Upgrade, that's an EP. Skullforge with Cosmic Crusade Chronicles. Sometime in February with Where Mountains Hide. The Sonic Redemption with Preaching to the Wasteland, that's an EP. Soul Demise with Against the Abyss. Spirit World with Hell Dorado. Stormo with Tagly Tally. Supersonic Deuces with Deuce on the Loose. I've had that happen before.
Mm-hmm.
Sycophant with Red Sun, that's an EP. Terraban with Oath, that's an EP. Throne with That Who Sat Upon Him, Death. Tiberius with Singing for Company. U Cronach with the Archaic Dance of Winds. Verbian with Cassarder. Vitskar Sudin with a self-titled re-release. Withersake with At War with Divinity, and Zub Zero with Perseverance. That's an EP. So quite the list to choose from for next week.
Well, just so you know, that Wither's Sake was supposed to be out this week, but
Oh, I
so
take it you tried to listen to that one?
well, I tried to uh, put
I've had that
something.
happen many
Well, no,
times.
I tried to put something on the playlist because it was showing up on my as it coming out this week. And then when I went through,
Oh,
tried to find them to put on the playlist to see if I even wanted to put it on the playlist, or
I gotcha. I
it was
gotcha.
just a single from February on there. And I said, well, I'm not putting that on there because this is March. So,
That's right.
so tough shit.
Hell yeah.
And man, just looking ahead, like of course we just have hidden intent. Next week we got to look forward to, but the next
Hmm.
week's going to be the powerhouse, dude. Alien weaponry, arch enemy. You know,
Oh, I
Jesus,
know.
dude. It's oh man, that 28th is going to be something, man. Death
Yep.
Heaven, whew, be a good one, dude. I'm
Yep.
just looking ahead a little bit just to kind of see what we got.
Hmm.
Um,
Halloween, March of Time, the best of
yeah,
40
that's just the
years.
best of, but still,
I
I
know.
mean, Halloween. I mean,
I
uh,
mean,
I'm
Jive
ready.
Bomb,
I'm ready for something new from them guys, man. Oh, shit.
Memphis Mayfire, Ministry. Oh, that's revisited. Never mind.
Yeah.
Nothing more. That's a deluxe edition. Never mind. The Choir. No, Choir Boys. That's a best of. Sick Puppies.
Yeah, Severed Angel. I know those
Under
guys.
Oath. Holy shit! Really?
Oh man, yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna
Yeah,
be
that's a lot. There's a lot of shit coming out on the 28th.
that's gonna be a busy one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well.
So I guess that's what we can kind of talk about next week right now. So we do have some our conversation going on about the band confirmed for next week, or well, they I think they confirm for next week, or
Um, let's see.
I think they confirmed
Yeah,
and then asked me what time.
yeah, they
And I
said
and I
they
and I and I
said
and I, and I got back with them on a time because I'm actually going on vacation next Saturday, so I kind of wanted to push it back a little bit so I didn't have to like
you
lose
actually.
sleep while I'm trying to travel the following day.
Yeah,
So, and I know Chris would probably appreciate going to bed
yeah,
early too. So,
that's fine. I'm totally fine. I'm fine with that.
uh, oh, I know, but I was just so I was trying to push it back to like 8, which I think that's the one from Michigan, right? That band.
Yes,
Yeah, so it's only
yes.
9, so it's just an hour ahead.
Yeah, it's
So
only 9 o'clock up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that way kind of puts them in a better position too. They're not up till like 1 in the morning trying to talk to us.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
uh, but but yeah, I just wanted to try to like get something worked out. So if they come back and say yeah, that's good, we'll start promoting that Monday for the next show. If not, we won't have a show because I'm not prepared to try to take off a trip if we're
Hmm.
not 10-hour drive without no sleep. So
Yeah.
so
No, that's
uh,
that's that's 100% understandable.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then of course I'm working all week, so I only have the Friday to try to pack and get everything together too. So I don't want to be trying to do all that and then have to not. And I won't be prepared. I'll be honest with you. I won't be prepared for the show anyway.
Right.
So I don't
Yeah.
want to give. If anybody knows me, I'm competitive, so I'm not. I'm not down with doing coming in here 10%. So it's
Right.
like, yeah, 100% or I don't want to do it. So,
Yeah.
um, and we got a lot of big things coming up. So we got the Rocket Pie coming up, and we're in
Hmm.
conversations with a band that just got signed to one of the labels we talked to that is going to be big for us if we get that. So
Hmm.
we're
Yeah.
actually hoping. We're like, oh please, please, it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
That's actually
And it will
that's a
be. It will
that's
kind of
something
be. Uh, how would I put that as far as
that's
like
that's a potential development that just happened this morning.
exactly. So, um, yeah. So I mean, if they work that out within the next couple of weeks, dude, I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah.
To get that in before the Rocket Pod, maybe that'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
We
Well,
tried to get Hidden Intent back on the show, but I guess they haven't.
they haven't.
With all of the
Yeah.
happenings with the new album, those guys stay busy anyway.
That
So, and last
we
time we talked to them, they were on tour, so it's like
yeah
they took time out of the tour to talk to us. So,
we will get Hidden Intent back on, but it's not going to be before the album review
yeah,
release,
that's
of course,
fine. I
because
mean,
it's next week. But I know that they'll come back on. So I mean, so I'm confident about that. But one thing is, regardless of what happens next Friday, whether or not we have the interview on Friday night, or we take the week off from the show, next Saturday, I will be live
oh, that's
streaming
right.
from next Saturday. I will be live streaming from our buddy Dana Horn. He's got another Slinging Ink in the Pit show set
Yep.
up down in Tullahoma. It's not in Manchester this time. It's actually a little closer to home, thankfully. But he moved venues. But I will be live streaming from there. It will be. It will only be on our YouTube. So if you want to check that out, it'll be next Saturday. It'll be live streaming on our YouTube channel. So I will be doing that regardless of what happens with the podcast next week. So
Okay. Cool. All right. We make work it out where we can do live too. I mean, I don't know.
oh yeah,
We'll see. Uh,
yeah,
all right. So like I said, a lot of happenings
a lot of
happening.
stuff
So
going on.
a lot
Yep.
of happenings are happening. So
They do happen.
uh, so hopefully,
They
like I
do.
said, hopefully a lot of that plays out. That'd be like the one interview. I'm really like, if we could grab that dude, I'm just going to be like on cloud nine with the
Oh,
show at
me
this point.
too.
So
Me too.
just because of the link we have with the band, is
Hmm.
just and last I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give
I
nothing
don't want.
away.
I don't
But
want to give anything away. I don't want to give shit away.
no. But like I said, well, there's nothing concrete, so we really ain't got nothing to talk about no way. But
Right.
we're just both with our fingers crossed, hoping. So,
Yeah.
but we do have a band we've been in conversation with. Supposedly, we're trying to work out something for next Friday, so hopefully we get that worked out. follow us on our socials to find out if that happens or not, because we will start advertising for that on Monday.
That's
So
right.
I'm
Yeah,
actually going to hit.
hopefully,
I'm actually going to hit them up tomorrow if I hadn't heard and say, hey man, we'd like to get something
yeah, we do
concrete.
need
So
we do need to nail down a time. We
yeah,
absolutely do.
down that time so we can do things. I can set it up, send them the link, so which I'll probably do
Hmm.
right away since they take so long to get back to us. So, so,
That is
uh,
true. They haven't been the most responsive band. It's taken them a little bit, but
well, I mean, every band has their way of their preferred way of communicating. So maybe that's not their preferred way of communicating, but
that's true too.
and
That's
I'll
possible.
ask them that too. If they prefer communicating in some other way, then we'll look at it that way. So all right, so I guess that will wrap things up. But before we head out, you can stream our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week radio station at stream.trulyradio247.com /8008 /stream.
That's right. That's good. That's going on right now as we speak. Hence the 24/7 part. And follow us on all of our social media platforms, our Facebook group, our Facebook page, X, Instagram, our YouTube channel, Rumble, Twitch. It needs to scroll faster. TikTok, Spotify.
Put too many dots on them.
Yeah, that's right. And our email address is metalheadsuniteusa@gmail.com.
Awesome. So, all right, guys. Hopefully, we will have an answer for you. This, like I said, this week. Like I said, if you're not seeing anything, and we haven't heard anything by like Wednesday, I'll probably make an announcement, a video announcement on one of our pages to let everybody know. But
Hmm.
because I don't like leaving everybody in the dark, just show up
Right.
and y'all got things to do too. If y'all not here spending it with us, so
That's right.
unless you're like Kayla, she's just working, she's not doing much.
Yes, yeah, she just
She just dropped a screw. Look,
she might have. She may have.
oh man. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you guys back here next week. Until then, keep those horns held high. Jump in that pit anytime you can.